Welcome. We are Neil,
Luke and Dave.
340-somethings reminiscing on the runners and riders of 90s guitar music.
We look at the bands who soundtracked our youth on both sides of the pond and interview some of our heroes from the bands that defined a generation.
You'll hear about the good, the bad and the ugly of 90s guitar music.
This podcast is Stupid and Contagious.
Hello and welcome to episode 72 of the Stupid and Contagious podcast. Just me, Luke, this week, bringing you a bumper-sized edition of end-of-year edition of the Stupid and Contagious podcast, starring you, the lovely listeners. Well, some of you. I absolutely love doing this. Basically interviewing people from around the world, talking passionately, articulately about music they loved. So yeah, really enjoyed putting this together. Thanks everyone for agreeing to get involved. I've found loads of great recommendations. I think this is going to probably end up costing me a lot of money in records. But yeah, great to meet people still listening to new music, still getting excited about new music like I do. So have a listen. So I'm going to hear from, well, if Neil has followed my editing instructions properly. First of all, you should be hearing from returning guest Alex Boucher, 3.5 Minutes of Fame, Travis Cut. He's going to be taking us through some amazing, mainly indie albums came out in 2024. After Alex, you'll hear from Austin, who's got a kind of a punk slant on what was going on in 2024. After Austin, we're going to head over to Ireland and speak to Richard, who takes us through the Irish underground of 2024, and also gives us an insight into the year in hip hop as well, including the beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. From Ireland, we're going to go across the Atlantic to New York and speak to ST, who gives us the lowdown on a whole bunch of kind of more experimental albums, post-metal and stuff like that. Really good recommendations from him. After that, we're going to go back to the kind of the indie side of 2024 with Michael. Lots of indie and post-rock stuff there. Stuff I hadn't heard, and right up my street. It's great. After Michael, we're going to Japan and we're going to speak to John and Brian together, who again give us a bit more of a punk underground flavour of what was going on in 2024, as well as some other kind of indie stuff as well. And after that, we're going to the hometown of the Stupid and Contagious boys, Brighton, with Matt, and he's going to talk us about indie and post-rock and stuff like that he liked that came out in 2024. And I'll be back at the end with my own list of 2024. So I hope you enjoy this as much as I enjoyed just chatting to just really nice cool people. So here we go. The interviews with you. Enjoy. Hello, Alex. Thanks so much for coming back on the podcast. How you doing?
I'm good, Luke. No, thanks for having me back. Really chuffed to be here. So yeah, I'm well. Really good, thanks. Yeah, having a good.
You're looking well.
Thank you.
Well, before we do your top 10, is it? You're going to do a whole 10?
Yeah, let's do top 10. Yeah.
Sure. Before you do that, last time we spoke to you, your book had just come out. Could you update us? I mean, how's it going and everything?
Yeah, no, the book's doing really well. It's still
give a plug for people that haven't.
It's still available. Yeah. So since we last spoke, this did just come out on paperback. You can now get it on Kindle, which is a nice extra. And I've just finished recording the audiobook version.
Oh wow!
So in the new year, for anyone who's into their audiobooks, there'll be a version of that with added music. So I've added music from the bands that are in the book to it. Not all the licensed commercial stuff, my bands, because that would have been expensive. So yeah, no, it's been going really well. Lots of interesting reviews and interviews I've been having off the back of it. Between us and your audience, I am speaking to a TV company as well.
Ooh.
About them maybe doing something with it. I don't know how that would look, but I've already
Like
asked
what?
her.
What kind of thing?
Well, it could be one of two things. It could be just your straight up documentary where,
Mm.
I talk about it and they get people in to talk about it, or they dramatize it and they somehow make it a cross between Baby Reindeer and the In-Betweeners or something. I don't really know. I've
Sure.
already asked for Timothy Chalamet to play me, so
I
that's
mean, I was gonna say it's the obvious choice. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So that's really exciting. I didn't really expect that to happen. So I mean, I don't want to get my hopes up, but that's
Mm.
possibly something that could come to light. And in the meantime, I'm also doing a book signing near where I live, in a town called Wivenhoe, at a record shop called Red Rocket. So on January 10th, I'm going to be there for some late night shopping for everyone, but also, for anyone who wants to buy a copy of the signed book, chat about the 90s, drink some wine. So yeah, just doing various bits and pieces. Really, it's fun.
Amazing. Okay, for people that missed the previous episode where we had you on, can you give us the title of the book again?
Yes, 3.5 minutes of fame is the name of the book, and in a nutshell, it just tells the story of all the different bands I was in during the 90s, where I tried to sort of make it big, get up the sort of the ladder of fame, as if you will, and just talks about my experiences touring and meeting other bands and trying different genres. It's not just indie, but a bit of punk and a bit of pop, things like that. So for anyone who misses the 90s, 3.5 minutes of fame, worth a read.
Definitely, and I can second that 100%. All right, brilliant. Well, let's get into your top 10 then. I want to do like the countdown music.
Yeah, I know. It feels like we should have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
I
I'm
have
gonna get
actually.
Neil, edit that in, mate. Edit that in. Go on.
Yes. Yeah, we need some of that. Bit of Def Leppard, maybe.
Sure.
So yeah, I've chosen 10. Some are
Mm,
new releases and some are reissues.
great,
So I just
great.
thought we'd rattle through those. So my
I mean,
first
are
pick,
they completely in order? They're strictly in order, right?
I have put them in order actually. Yeah.
Good,
So I will.
good,
The
good, good.
middle is a bit
Mm,
blurry, but number 10 is
mm.
definitely number 10, and number one is definitely number one, if
Good.
that makes
That's
sense.
what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
So,
important.
so number 10
Go on.
is the 10th album by US trio Buffalo Tom.
Oh,
So,
wow.
for anyone who
Mm,
remembers Buffalo Tom, they were around, well, from about 1988 onwards.
mm,
Bill Yanovitz, Chris Colburn, and Tom McGuinness. They're from Boston.
mm,
Their first two albums got produced by Dinosaur Jr. And then they kind of just were on that kind of grunge sort of train where they just got lumped in with all those
mm,
bands. But yeah, this is their 10th album, came out early in the year.
mm,
And it's what you'd expect from Buffalo Tom if you're a Buffalo Tom fan. It's very folky, Americana, but with an indie alternative kind of edge to it. Great lyrics, great songs, and yeah, just I've been a lifelong fan since they released their third album, Let Me Come
mm.
Over, in the early 90s, and I just stuck with them. So yeah, this was
They come up quite a lot on like their Facebook group and stuff. I never really got into them, so okay, I'll give it a listen. Great.
yeah. Well, I think a lot of people used to get them confused with Grantley Buffalo. And if you didn't like
Sure.
Grantley Buffalo, you might have just thought, well, I won't like Buffalo Tom or something. But
Sure.
yeah, they're just insanely great band, consistently good. And
Mm.
yeah, this is their 10th album, their 10th.
Wow.
So,
Still
go,
going.
go and check
Great.
out the rest of the things. So that
All
was
right.
number 10.
Nine.
Number nine's a reissue. And actually, it's quite close to the book, because this is the Forestville Street by Brackets, who are a US punk band, who Travis Cut, a band I was in, toured with
Mm.
for a couple of dates back in 93, 94, I think it was.
Wow.
So yeah, if you like your kind of early Green Day kind of punky poppy
Mm.
tunes that are no longer than 2.5, 3 minutes long, I would definitely check out this album. It's a winner. It's really good. And
Mm.
yeah, we actually toured with them when they were promoting this album 30 years ago.
When did
So
that first come out then?
yeah, it must have been 30 years ago. So I think
Mm.
they've reissued it for the
The
30
30th
year
anniversary, right?
anniversary. Yeah, so yeah,
Great.
this was on in the tour van a lot back in the day. So it was great
Mm.
just to have it, have it on vinyl and get it
Yeah.
from them.
Brilliant.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
New one for me.
number.
Great.
Yeah, check them out. It's good.
Mm.
It's good stuff. Number nine is probably one that a lot of people have bought, which is Amyl and the Sniffers, Cartoon Block.
Mm. Mm.
Um, So I was been following this band since the start, basically. So I
Yeah.
just kind of watched them just go like that. And
Mm.
yeah, I'm not sure if this is my favorite album of theirs. I mean,
Okay.
Chewing Gum
Yeah.
is my favorite song, but I'm not sure if it's my favorite album.
I'm the same. So I bought their first two albums and I fucking loved them. And right from the beginning I was listening and I listened to this one and I was like, it's good. It's good. Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good.
yeah. It's funny 'cause
I didn't buy it. It's the first one I haven't bought. But with yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you say,
yeah,
not my favorite, but it's good. Amylin Sniffers is better than most people, right? So
yeah, it is. And it's funny because I bought tickets to see them at the Roundhouse in
mm,
Camden last month, but it was before the album came out. So when the album came out, I was like, oh, if only
mm,
the album was slightly better because it was a
mm.
great gig. Don't get me wrong, they're brilliant live, but yeah, it's just a shame there wasn't more better songs on this one. But yeah, Chewing
I
Gum's my
think the
favorite.
songs are there. I think they've just gone a bit too slick. They've gone like the overproduction route, right? Which is the opposite of what they are. They're a pub bar band. They shouldn't be overproducing stuff,
Yeah,
you know. The
yeah. Well,
songs are still there, I think. I don't know.
they've got the songs, the riffs, because I always see them as almost like a punk version of AC/DC, right? It's kind of that sort of vibe, the Australian, balls out,
Sure.
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I think, yeah, you're right in the production because I think they used a studio for this album that had been used by Rolling Stones or something. They basically produced it on a really sort of authentic studio or sound desk that had been used by lots of famous bands. So maybe that
Mm.
was their downfall. Maybe they should have gone more White Stripes and just kept it authentic or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, do you know this band, Irked?
No, no, not
I
familiar
mean,
with that.
this would be my top 10 if it was a full album. It's a one-sided 12-inch, but
Oh
they
no.
sound like Amyl and the Sniffers if Amyl and the Sniffers were from Newcastle,
Brilliant. I will check them out. That
basically.
sounds amazing. Yeah,
Their
that's great.
tune Backstreets is one of my top three tunes of the year. So if you like
Oh,
Amyl and the
brilliant.
Sniffers, check them out. Irked.
That will be added to the playlist. Yeah, I mean, there was a great support band for Amon and the Sniffers, a band called Upchuck, who were from
Mm,
the US, and they were
yeah, I
brilliant.
know
They
them.
were like,
Mm,
yeah, really good. So, that was a good thing for discover a new band on the night. So that was cool.
good stuff. All
So
right,
yeah,
number 7, I
next
think we're
up,
at.
yeah. So obviously, again, a bit
Mm,
like Amon and the Sniffers, where
mm,
I love the previous albums. This
mm.
one ticks enough boxes,
Yeah.
but
Oh, I've
it's
got
you know.
my copy in my office. I would, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
I'm the same, man.
again,
Mm,
a bit like Amyl and the Sniffers, I've just been following them since day one. I saw them
same.
play at the Village Underground, which was a great
Mm,
gig to be at, and before the headline, before the Glastonbury gigs, basically. Um, yeah, I mean they're just consistently great, really good. I kind of love everything they do anyway. So yeah, that had to be in
yeah.
the top 10. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's a bit of a return to form, I think, that album. Like Joy is an Act of Resistance that was like my number one album of whatever year that came out. And I
yeah,
think it's a
absolutely.
masterpiece. And
It is.
they haven't quite
Yeah.
lived up to it, but then, why would they? So
Yeah,
it's a
yeah, I
good
think you're
record. Yeah.
right. I think it's the
Mm,
closest thing to like, yeah, after Ultramono and Crawler, I think this kind of brings it back a bit.
yeah,
There's a
I
bit
think so.
more
Yeah.
fire in the belly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Good choice. Good
Okay,
one.
so that's that. So this band are called Drug Church,
Nice name.
and this came out this year. The album's called Prude. I love the cover. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Kind of like a grungy kind of US act. I
Mm,
don't know if you've heard of bands called Soul Blind or Narrowhead or even
no,
October Drift, but it's kind
no.
of this alternative grungy kind of rock stuff. But it's very
Mm,
short, but it's just full of infectious riffs. It's a great album. It's
mm,
worth having a listen because it's just, yeah, I
mm.
love it. Really good.
Drug
Really good.
Church. I mean, I'm sold already on the name.
Yeah, I know. It's such a
Sounds
great
great.
name. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right,
I'm
that's
waiting
going
for
on
them
my
to
list as well. Mhm.
waiting for them to come over to the UK because they're one of the bands I really want to see live. So that's really
Mm.
cool. Um,
Great.
so onto a reissue. This actually arrived at the weekend, so I'm glad it arrived in time. So back in
Mm.
the noughties, there was this amazing prog alternative rock band called Ocean Size.
Gosh,
Uh,
yeah.
they've just re-released Frames, which is
Mm.
their third album.
Mm.
So obviously, Mike Vennett is the sort of the main protagonist of the band.
Mm.
He's gone on to play for Biffy Clyro and
Oh,
Empire
really?
State Bastard. and he does his own solo stuff called Venet, which is all on Bandcamp. But Oceanside was his band back in the day, and they're very well known for like really long, sort of
Epic indie.
epic indie,
Love
crazy
it. Yeah.
signatures. Mike's from Manchester, so he's got that real sort of, swagger in his step with his songs and vocals and everything. But yeah, this is 3 records. I mean, it's that.
Oh, that looks a really nice bit of vinyl. Look, that looks nice.
Yeah, it's good. It only just came out. So yeah, I mean, Oceanside's like my ultimate. If there was a band that I would want to reform, it would be Oceanside.
Oh, nice one.
So yeah, I
haven't thought about them for a long time. Great.
Yeah, no, worth revisiting. Always worth revisiting. So yeah, we're going to go back to 94 with another reissue, which is Up to Our Hips by the Charlatans.
Oh, look at that alternative cover.
Yeah, so they changed the cover. I'm not sure. I need to read up on what the reason was that they changed the cover. But yeah, Up to Our Hips, it's a kind of a Marmite Charlatans album. A lot of people think, it wasn't great, but I kind of love it. I think there's got a lot of good songs in it. Jesus Hairdo and
yeah.
Autograph. I just love Autograph. So yeah, when this was announced again, it was like I've got to get that one, because again we're seeing a lot of these anniversary 30-year albums getting reissued. So this was kind of on my wish list. So
sure.
Had to make it in.
What's your take on alternative covers, man? I remember like when there was Lemonade's like reissued a Shimmer About Ray a few years ago, and the cover was like it was just wasn't the same. I just couldn't bring myself to buy it, even though I don't have a copy of it. I don't know. It just didn't feel right.
I get what you mean. It's kind of, unless there's a valid reason. And funnily enough, there's another record in my pile here which has had the cover changed, and there's a good reason why, and I kind of get it. But sometimes I just think, why would you meddle? Why meddle?
Although, to be fair, that looks pretty cool. So.
Yeah, it does look pretty cool. I'm just not sure why they changed it, because the original was just the black, green, and white.
Yeah, with the green. Yeah.
Sort of away from each other.
Got a copy somewhere, I guess.
Oh.
Where are we? I think I have.
There you go. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out why they changed it.
Yeah. I mean, I like them both. It's all right. I like them both.
Yeah, still good.
Yeah.
Still good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was definitely one I was excited about, which is great. So now we're into our top 3. So in at number 3 is Romance by Fontaines DC.
Okay.
I kind of missed the boat with Fontaines DC. I wasn't one of those bands like Amyl and the Sniffers or Ride as well. I was there from the start, right? And I was like, oh my God. But when I heard this, I kind of just thought, yeah, this is actually pretty damn good. So I kind of just went with it, and I've listened to it a lot. Actually, I've not really stopped listening to it. So yeah, that's why it's so high in my charts. What do you think of this one, Luke?
See, I love the first album. I thought it was like incredible, and again, I got on board pretty quickly, and I loved it. Second album, I didn't like it at first, and I listened to it a lot, and then I learned to love it. And then the third album, I thought the singles were amazing, and I thought the rest of the album was terrible. And this album, I couldn't get into it. I couldn't.
Really?
I don't know. I don't understand why they called punk. They're not punk in any way. I don't know. That's not their fault, I guess. But I tried, and I really wanted to like it, because I think I like what they do, and I like their attitude, and I like them.
I think it's mainly the band, isn't it? So I kind of supporting the band as opposed to.
But like you said, though, you listen to it a lot. But like, it took me like a good few listens to their second album to really appreciate it. So maybe I didn't give it enough of a chance. Yeah.
They remind me of a band called Sons and Daughters. Again, you had to sort of give it quite a few listens before you really got into it. And you almost would feel self-conscious playing it to someone else, because you think, oh God, this is going to create an atmosphere.
Sons and Daughters, are they Canadian? Why do I think they're Canadian? Sons and Daughters.
I'm gonna. I think they were either Scottish or Irish.
And not Canadian, right?
Apologies to the band, but yeah,
I can picture the album cover. I can picture it. Yeah,
Love the Cup, I think was the album.
Love the Cup. That was it.
No, it was the debut EP was something It was just amazing. The debut EP was just like, and it kind of reminded me of Fontaine's DC, where it's like blistering, kind of emotive music, but not
Mm.
necessarily punk, not necessarily indie, just something
Mm.
that has all. But
And
the
they got
funny,
they got the the poetry and all of that in there, which is great.
yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
that side of it. Yeah, the raw emotion almost. The
yeah.
only thing I don't like is the cover. I just think the cover's
No,
just not. I think this. It felt like they just like spent 10 minutes in Adobe. It's just
sure,
like, so that's the only letdown, Fontaine's.
sure. All right,
Um,
good stuff.
yeah, number two. So again, going back to the covers that have been changed. So this got reissued this
Mm.
year, which is Delaware by Drop 19s,
All
which came
right.
out, I think, God, 91, 92. And
Mm.
it's one of those timeless shoegaze classic albums. I mean,
Mm.
it's just
Mm.
brilliant. If you listen to tracks like Winona, they do a cover version of Angel by Madonna as well. But the original front
Mm.
cover had her holding a gun. And I think it was
Right.
sort of, she was about to rob a bank or she was about to do something crazy with a gun. So they obviously thought maybe in this day and age, re-releasing an album with a young girl on the front cover holding a gun was not the most sort of politically correct thing to do, being an American band. So they swapped it
Oh,
for flowers. But yeah, this,
interesting.
this album is incredible. I love this
Right.
album.
I
I
don't
mean,
know it. I don't. I know the name Drop
oh,
19s. I don't know the record.
yeah,
So
you got
shoegaze. Mm.
yeah, shoegazy rock, kind of, bit more woozier, not as much structure as Ride, for instance,
Mm.
but it's just really good stuff. And they have
Mm.
lead singer Greg and a female singer, so that some of the tracks are like different in
Mm.
terms of Greg. It's really nice vibe,
Oh, and that looks good as well. Look at
actually,
that.
isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
but yeah, honestly,
yeah.
it's kind of one of those old ones that people may have overlooked because they were possibly too much into Mazzy Star or
Mm.
Nowhere or Slow Dive.
Sure.
This kind of cuts in between. So yeah, this was like a real grail record for
Mm.
me to oh my god, I now own Delaware, which is amazing. So yes, check it
Brilliant.
out.
Great
Um,
choice.
so yeah, number one,
Drum roll, please.
drum roll. Yeah, I
All
mean
right.
it's pretty predictable. It's quite. Do you want to have a guess what it might be, Luke?
Um, I don't know. I think what you said so far is going to be a famous one, right? I don't know. Go on. Of course, of course. Oh man, I should have said that. I should have said that.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Yeah.
it was. I mean, we've talked about my Instagram account on the last call because obviously I share a lot of vinyl, and
Mm.
this just did not leave my timeline for about a week. Everyone was buying this record. It outsold the top 10 albums in the chart combined.
Oh
So,
wow.
and for
Mm.
good reason, because I think it's
Mm.
absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's
Mm.
almost like the greatest elements of The Cure rolled into one album.
Mm.
I know some people were quite underwhelmed by it, but I think
Mm.
this was worth the wait for me. And yeah, I absolutely love it. So yeah, in with the bullet, number one,
Good
Cure,
stuff.
Senseless Things.
Why do you think they got so hyped up this time? I mean, they've released albums after a long period of time before, Why do you think this time the public was really behind them? And I mean, it's a good album and they delivered. But even before that, there was a real kind of momentum behind it, wasn't it? Why do you think they're
Yeah,
back in the consciousness?
I think there's just a lot more nostalgia and interest
Mm,
for bands like that. And after seeing the Oasis reunite and certain other bands come back, I think and it's that generation of people sort of 50 plus who are don't have kids to look after anymore, so they're going to more gigs than they can count. I'm in this Facebook group called Gig Life Crisis. People are going to
nice.
like gigs on a nightly basis. They're literally out every night watching gigs. So I think, for The Cure being such an incredible live band and
Mm,
having new material is almost like a double whammy. It's like, an absolute no-brainer
mm,
for anyone who's into The Cure.
mm.
And yeah, and luckily, yeah, all the tracks are great. So I think they've just it's just good timing, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, just basically. Were you into
Yeah.
The Cure back in the day when you were younger?
Yeah, so when I joined 3.5 Minutes, they were all massively into The Cure, and my first few weeks were sort of being educated in their songs and their albums because they wanted to emulate some of their songs and sort of use them as an influence, so to speak. So yeah, Disintegration is probably one of my top 10 all-time albums ever. But I was obviously playing when Wish came out. So that for me is a really special album as well. So yes, yeah, always loved The Cure. Even Blood Flowers or other albums they did, I just really got it. Funnily enough, the early stuff I was too young for. So I'm more of a sort of Disintegration, Wish onwards fan. But yeah, I love. I mean, I've seen them twice. I saw them at Wembley Arena, long time ago, and then I was at a Teenage Cancer Trust gig at Royal Albert Hall, and they just keep playing. I mean, their set was like I think 2.5 hours long or something. So
Wow.
yeah, always got time for The Cure, basically.
All right. Great stuff. All right. Before we finish, do you want to do any honourable mentions? Records that didn't quite make it but deserve a bit of a mention.
So just over here is the reissue of Discovery by Daft Punk. I mean, I didn't already own it on vinyl, but the reason I bought this one was because it's got the Interstellar 555 artwork all over it, and I'm a big manga sort of fan as well. So this was just a win-win for me to get this. So this only just picked the top 10, and I guess my other one, if I'd have maybe put it in, was probably going to be Noel Gallagher's album Council Skies. I kind of really rated that one. I thought it was really good, so that probably would have maybe got into the top 10, but no, those
Hovering outside.
Yes,
brilliant. All right. Thank you so much. I love that. I got some good recommendations. I'm definitely going to check out the Drug Church record. Drop 19s as well, and Bracket as well. No, going on my nice playlist tomorrow. Brilliant.
Excellent.
All right. No. Thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
No, thanks, Luke. It's been fun.
All right. Welcome to the podcast, Austin. Before we start, can you introduce yourself? I feel a bit like Cilla Black asking that kind of question. Contestant number 1, what's your name? Where do you come from?
I'm Austin, and I'm in Nottingham, in the middle of England.
Very nice. Anything else about yourself you want to introduce for the listeners?
I've played a few bands and stuff, but one of them we'll get onto because that's one of my sneaky
all right.
bit of promotion at the end there.
Oh mate, if you can't do that, what can you do, right? It's got to be done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, and you've got a top 5, is that right? Plus some extra reissues, is that right?
Yeah. Okay, right. So
let's do it.
I've got them here so we can see them. So
from number 5,
one, Chubby and the Gang. The latest
right.
From them.
Oh man, that looks
and then
new
there
artwork.
was Chubby and the Gang. Yeah. So 3rd album from them.
Yes.
And kind of it's become more of Charlie's sort of solo project now because it's just him and Jonah Falco that recorded it all. And then I think he has a live band that plays it with him. But that's probably my favourite of the 3 so far.
Oh, really? Okay, for people that don't know Chubby and the Gang, can you tell us the sound?
Yeah, so the first album was kind of like garagey, pub rock sort of thing, that sort of late 70s sound. And then they kind of continued that with the second, but the vocals were a bit gruffer. And then on this one, there's a lot more, I think, hardcore influence because Charlie was from the hardcore scene anyway, played in Abolition and other bands. He also plays in the Chisel as well, who are like a boy band.
Really? Oh, they're on my long list for albums of the year. The Chisel.
They're incredible, and incredible live as well. So this one's got a bit more of that hardcore coming through on it, I think. Guitar solos are a bit more ripping and stuff, but yeah, my
brilliant.
3, I think.
Well, I've got the first 2 records, and I completely missed that. I don't know how I missed that. They had come out at all. I had no idea.
Yeah, it did kind of. It was a bit under the radar, I think. Didn't get the push that the first 2 did, really.
Wow. Okay, that's definitely going on my list because I've got the first 2 and love them. So okay, great to know.
Brilliant. So the next one is a band from Melbourne called Tropical Fuckstorm.
Yes. Yeah.
Who are kind of experimental psych kind of stuff, I guess. They're a band that my wife introduced me to them, and when she first played them to me, I was kind of like, what the fuck is that? Because the guitars are like very out of tune at times and things like this, but obviously intentional.
Yeah.
And then we went to see them a few years ago in Manchester,
Mm,
and it clicked. And I was like, oh fuck, these guys are great. Well, one guy and
mm,
three girls.
sure.
And then we went to see them again a couple of months ago, and they
Mm,
were even better yet again. So this is like this came out this year, but this is a live album, so it's basically got all the greatest hits on it, sort of thing.
okay.
And it's
It's a great
called,
band name, isn't it? Tropical Fuck Storm.
yeah,
It's great.
yeah. And it's a long line of amazing Aussie bands that are coming out at the minute. So
Sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant. Nice one. All right. Where are we? Number three.
Number three, latest from, oh, hang on, I'll take it out of sleep because you can't really see it.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
there's
can't
a
see
lot
that.
on the cover, but it's the latest one from Red Cross, which it does say
Yes.
Red Cross very faintly there.
Yeah.
And it's their self-titled one. First
Mm,
album in about 5 years, I think.
mm,
Uh, and I mean, they've been going since the early 80s and
yeah.
as incredible as ever.
Were you a
Uh,
fan back in the day? I mean,
yeah, so weirdly, I've got a
mm,
ticket that says I saw them and
mm.
Leatherface supporting the Senseless Things.
Oh,
Now,
wow.
yeah, in somewhere in London.
Yeah.
Now, I remember Leatherface and I remember the Senseless Things, but
Mm.
I don't have a lot of memory of actually seeing Red Cross back then.
Well, me and Neil, we saw Leatherface supporting the Census Things. So it must have been the same tour, but I don't remember Red Cross either.
No, no.
That's
So I think I've got
okay.
the ticket somewhere and they're on the ticket. And
Mm,
I do have a vague recollection of probably
mm,
me and that was when they were in their full like
mm.
paisley and Crush Velvet
Sure.
flares. So I
Mm,
can imagine me and my mates being like, what the fuck is this?
mm.
Uh, and
Right.
then probably
Yeah.
going to the bar, you know. So I
Well,
didn't,
especially being blown away by Leatherface's
yeah,
onslaught as
exactly.
well,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I wasn't particularly into them back in the day. They're a band that I
Mm,
probably rediscovered about 10 years ago and then got
mm,
massively into. And then was lucky enough to see them a couple of months ago. They played in
mm,
Nottingham
mm.
and they were as great as ever. Like absolutely
Yeah.
incredible. Harmonies and
Um,
everything was spot on.
yeah. Again, I've heard the album and yeah, really liked it. Really liked it. I listened to an interview with them and yeah, they convinced me to listen. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's great.
yeah. So that's that one.
Nice.
And next one is so this is a bit different.
Mm,
However, a link back to the sort of 90s scene. So this is Simon Wells, who was
mm.
the guitarist in Snuff originally.
Right.
So he was the
Okay.
guitarist on the first two albums and a load
Mm,
of 7 inches and stuff like that.
mm,
The part of the original trio of him, Andy, and Duncan.
mm.
But this is his third solo album. He
Wow.
now plays the most incredible folk music. Uh,
Huh.
some
That's a
some of it,
turnaround.
yeah. Some of it sort of classic folk covers.
Mm,
Then some of it brand new songs from him. And then there's normally like on the first album there was a Snuff song, and then
mm,
the band he did after Snuff, Southport, he's covered a few of their songs as well. But just sort of redone them in a completely different way.
mm. Is it like
Uh,
acoustic?
yeah, all
Mm,
like proper finger picky. Like he's an incredible guitar player.
mm,
Uh, so like yeah, you sort of traditional folk playing. His voice I think is better than it's ever been.
mm,
Uh, and yeah, his guitar playing is exceptional. But the songs are, I think this is probably my favorite of the three.
mm.
They're all really really good. I love all of them. But I think he's kind of gone to another level on this one.
Brilliant.
Uh, and bizarrely, I spoke to him this morning, and he's starting recording the next one already.
There we go. There we go.
So,
Oh wow.
yeah,
Great. Yeah, totally new one for me. Brilliant.
yeah, well worth checking out.
Will
Uh,
do.
and especially for people that listen to this that were into Snuff back in the day, have probably lost track of him anyway. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
well worth having
Good.
a listen.
All right. Are we at the number one?
Yes, my number one and
Yes.
my favorite Aussie band of all time, the Hard-Ons.
There we go. Wow. Are they still
So,
going? Okay.
yeah, 40 years this year they've been going,
Wow.
and
Wow.
this must be at least their 15th album, maybe.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wow.
and the cover art is like a nod back to one of their first ever records that had like a granny on the front doing the same pose.
Okay,
So it's
great.
like a nod back to that, and the back
Mm.
sleeve as well is done as a pastiche
It's
of
like,
the original one.
right, it's like 80s style,
Uh,
right? Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, and they so over the 40 years they flip from kind of pure pop
Mm.
to thrash metal and everything in
Mm.
between.
Mm.
Uh,
Where
and
are they at the moment?
this is a proper pop record.
Mm.
And it's incredible. It's so good. I went to Berlin to see them earlier this year.
Mm.
They have, do you know UMI, the
Of
Australian
course,
band?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So Tim Rogers is now the
Mm.
singer in the Hard-Ons.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he joined them about 2 or 3 albums ago, and he's
Mm.
been fronting them ever since. Uh,
Okay.
and a lot of people, when you mention the Hard-Ons, they just remember the classic lineup that used
Mm.
to tour with Senseless Things and Mega City 4
Mm.
when they
Mm.
had a singing drummer.
Mm.
Uh, but the drummer left sort of quite a few years ago. They've been through various lineup changes, but the lineup they've got at the minute with Tim fronting them
Mm.
is probably the best they've ever had, I think.
Wow.
Uh,
All
they
right.
just keep pushing the envelope with their music.
Mm. Brilliant.
Pretty,
Brilliant.
pretty
Again, that's a great
incredible.
one. It's a nice callback. I think people will probably know them, but they got a new sound
Yeah,
and a great album. So great choice. Sounds good.
yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Brilliant. Yeah, you got
Well,
some others you
I've
want to
got a
mention?
couple of
Yeah.
reissues
Yeah,
that
go on.
I want you to mention. First one is this one, which is a band called Jesse.
Don't
Uh,
know. Mm.
so this was Frankie Stubbs from Leatherface. It was the band that
Right.
he did
Mm.
in one of the gaps between Leatherface existing.
Mm.
It originally came out on CD in '98,
Okay.
but this is like the full discography for the first time on vinyl.
Mm. Okay.
Uh, and it is, I think it's probably some of his most beautiful songwriting on this. There's sort of
Mm.
slower, more tender songs, but then there's like absolute rages as well.
Mm.
And as much as I love Leatherface, I'd kind of
Mm.
put this up there with their best stuff, really.
All right.
So
Brilliant.
well worth hunting down if
Yeah.
Leatherface are your thing.
Yeah. Great.
Uh, and the other reissue
Mm.
is a band called The Sound,
Ah. Mm.
who I'd never heard until probably earlier this year
Mm.
when bass player in one of my bands played them in the van.
Mm.
This came out in 1980 originally,
Mm.
post-punk,
Yeah.
and probably some of the best post-punk I've ever heard actually on this record. Like it's so
Yeah.
good, like the dynamics and everything on it. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, it just really blew me away. And there's not many things these days that I've not heard that kind of knocked me out like this did.
Sure.
Like Lee played it once in the van, and I was like, "Fuck, I
Mm.
need to get that record." And
Sure.
then, yeah,
Sure.
thankfully it got reissued because
It's
I
a
was
cool
trying to
as
find
fuck
an
cover as well,
original.
man. That looks
Yeah,
it's cool as fuck, right? Yeah.
the original we spotted in when we were on tour in Holland, and it's like 70 quid. So then,
Mm.
thankfully, this came
Mm.
out reissued,
Mm.
for normal price recently.
Yeah. Great
So that's
stuff.
if anyone's into post punk, it's well worth digging out because I
Yeah,
think
again,
they're a
I
bit of
know
a
the name and I know I recognize the cover and everything. I don't know if I've actually heard it though, but I know the name, I know everything. I know it, but I'm not
I
sure
think
if I've
they're
heard it. Mm.
from what Lee said to me, they were one of those bands that were tipped for stardom and never got it.
Mm.
You
Sure.
know, each time they thought something big was going to happen, it then didn't, and another band
Mm.
overtook them. They'd be like
Mm.
hyped as, oh, it's going to be this band or this band, and it was never them. It was always the other band.
Mm.
Uh,
Okay.
but yeah, quite
Cool.
fascinating.
Yeah, good tip, man. Brilliant.
And then my last one, which is kind of shameless self-promotion, but also
Let's do
not
it.
in a
Come
way,
on.
because this is a band that I'm playing at the moment called
Mm.
Reduced.
Mm.
Now I say it's not self-promotion because I don't actually play on this record. So
Sure.
this 7-inch was recorded by the singer Sid and the drummer
Mm.
Joel, and they did it all themselves. And then
Wow.
me and a friend joined on guitar and bass at the start of this year. And the reason I wanted to mention it, Sid's influences for what he writes are like the Saints and the Replacements. But
Mm.
we get a lot of comments in reviews and for people that see us of, oh, you remind us of Mega City 4 Senseless Things. So
Wow.
anyone that's into that kind of
High
thing, they
praise
should check
indeed.
out our band.
All right. Is it on Bandcamp or anything like that, or
It is, yeah.
Spotify?
It's on Bandcamp. It's on Spotify.
Mm,
You can pick up the vinyl if you want it. And
brilliant.
we're out and about playing around the UK at the minute. So
That's great, man. That's brilliant. Oh man, what a great list. Brilliant. Oh, I can't believe I missed that Chubby and the Gang record. That's great.
yeah,
Brilliant.
you need to get hold of that.
I will, man. I will.
And the Chisel as well. You need to get those Chisel records.
I've got whatever. I should have it with me. I've got the Chisel record that came out this year, right, with the green sleeve,
okay.
and I've
Yes.
got that. I do have that. But
That's
yeah,
probably the best of the two, to be honest. The first one was great, but I think they upped the game on the second one.
oh, it's really good, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the better one. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, man. Let's leave it there then. That's perfect. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to stop the recording. Don't jump away just yet. Welcome to the podcast, Richard. Before we start, do you want to introduce yourself to the listeners and the viewers?
Yeah, Richard Howard, listener to the podcast, sometime commenter on the Facebook page. Yeah, like from Dublin, Ireland. If you can, you can probably tell from my accent, but yeah, yeah, kind of interested in 90s music, but also interested in contemporary music. You know, was into similar stuff that you see on the podcast. I've always kept an ear to contemporary stuff, though. You know, yeah.
All right. Okay, so let's start with your favorite records. And I think you said it's going to be Irish heavy, right? Which is good because you're your Irish correspondent. It's great.
Yeah, Irish correspondent report. Yeah. When you put the call out, like I was kind of looking, and I was like, actually, like a good lot of Irish stuff has come out, like good Irish stuff. Like we have, you know, obviously Lankum are doing really well.
Yeah. Okay. Did they release anything? That was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Lankum
but
record.
like you know, Lankum and Fontaine's DC are probably the most well known, but like there's other stuff kind of happening, kind of underground stuff. So the first one is DUFO.
DUFO. Okay, tell us about them.
Yeah, their album "Beaming a Moment's Reflection," really good, like hard kind of psych garage thing. I went to see them in a really small venue above a pub a couple of months ago. 2 drum kits. Like
nice.
you know, it was the size of a sitting room. You know, half.
Sure.
It was like half of this venue was taken up with the band, and the other half was like crammed audience. Like, and they had really psychedelic visuals and stuff. But just this onslaught of sound. There's a song on the record called Surveyor. Like,
okay,
it's kind of crowdy, really, really repetitious, kind of crowdy kind of stuff.
Oh man, I'm getting visions of like the Boredoms or something like that. One of those kind of 90s psychedelic noise bands. Is that not too far off?
Yeah, yeah. It's all centered around 2 people, Dara Hansard and Bette Doyle, and they put together different bands for different, you know, different gigs or whatever. But like it's really psychedelic, really dreamy. The lyrics, like the vocals, are just like totally processed. You can barely hear like what he's singing about, you know, but just really like druggy kind of vibe, you know, really, really, really good.
Sounds great. Sounds right up my street. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, a bit like Loop, remember from the late 80s, 90s, that band Loop, I suppose. A little bit on that.
Well, you've got a lot of Loop fans that listen to the podcast, so I think that's a good reference.
Oh,
that's
great.
Cool.
Then I have a Search Results, who've just released their Hot Night EP. They had a record last year. I thought it was this year, but it was actually last year. But kind of good, kind of art rock. I saw them supporting Pissed Jeans.
Oh, I love Pissed Jeans. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was a great gig. Like, but they supported, and it reminded me of there was a 90s band on Ouija called Jacob's Mouse, and Um, they're a kind of band, like 1 minute they sound like Fugazi and the next minute they sound like Happy Mondays or something, but they always sound like themselves. Do you know what I mean?
That's called Search Results.
Search Results, yeah.
Great.
Their new EP, like, they're kind of like really short songs, a bit like Minutemen or Wire. I see like the new record. I just listened to it yesterday. There's a song called Entity, I think it's called. It's 11 and a half minutes. Gets
Nice.
really, noisy in the middle. Fades out, comes back, kind of crowdy, repetitious kind of thing. Then I've got Soft on Crime,
Okay.
who released their second album this year. Kind of power pop, kind of 3-piece power trio kind of thing.
Yeah.
Little bit psychedelic, little bit mod revival. Really good. Very
Great.
catchy kind of songs.
Yeah. Oh man, these all sound amazing. Yeah.
They have a song called Favorite Band. The last song on the album is called Favorite Band. And I think like people who watch the podcast will recognize it. It's all about having a favorite band and wearing their t-shirt to the show and all that kind of stuff,
Brilliant.
People who've indulged in music fandom will recognize themselves in it,
Brilliant. Yeah. Yeah. It's great.
Then Deep in the Woods 66. It's kind of a production team. Here's where I have to declare my interest. I've collaborated with Deep in the Woods 66 for my own project, Pure Fabrication.
Tell us about that. Let's talk about that now.
Well, what I do is I used to be in an instrumental hip hop band called Deep Burial in the 90s. And then I kind of went into academia, started kind of writing. I was writing short stories as well. Had some published in like science fiction magazines and things like that. Right. And then I decided to kind of combine the two. So I dug out all my old musical equipment and I was like, well, I'll make audio versions of stories. So I've been doing it for a few years now. I just like write stories and kind of put music to them, like, influenced by drone and obviously hip hop and that kind of stuff, and I make albums of stories and put them up, kind of like it's a weird like mishmash of an audio book and a noise record,
Ah man, I had a listen last night. I loved it. It took me a while to work out what was going on. I was like, first of all, I thought it's going to be like this, like a spoken introduction. I was like, oh no, hang on, it's spoken word. Well, it's not spoken word. Yeah, I don't know what this is, but it's really cool. It's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of like I love like early industrial. Like when you hear Throb and Gristle talk about early industrial, they're like wanted people to be confused.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people would be like, "Is this a documentary?" Like when they hear
right.
And
yeah.
So I was kind of drawing on that, kind of.
Oh, it works.
Like don't have credits. Don't tell people what it is ahead of time. Just like press play and Yeah.
No, it's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have like this like production team, Deep in the Woods 66. They kind of make these records with guests. Their one that came out this year, Sleepworms. Really good. The song Sleepworms, amazing, kind of quiet, loud kind of song, and another song featuring the Irish rapper Captain Moonlight, which is really good. And I've another collaboration with Deep in the Woods 66
okay, cool.
next year. Also Meryl Streak. I don't know if you've heard of Meryl Streak.
I don't think so. No, it's a good name though.
He's Irish. He's from Dublin. His album Songs for the Deceased came out this year. He had a record out a couple of years ago. I saw him live like a few times. Um, really like it's the kind of laptop with shouting over the top genre
Okay. Yes, I
of
know. I
punk.
know. Sure. Sure.
But like he's really upped the anger.
Mm.
Um, like when you see him live, it's like being berated, you know.
Sure.
But it's amazing. But his lyrics are so simple. Like it's like he's angry about something. It's kind of like if you back in the day you'd read like a Discharge lyric sheet of the band Discharge,
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and it's just so plain, it's so direct. Here's what we're angry about, you know. So he
Yeah.
takes on you know, the housing situation in Ireland and past kind of negligence by the Irish government. Like he has a song about the Stardust fire. He has a song about this guy Terence Wheelock who died in police custody under suspicious circumstances. You know, he has all these songs about issues like that. Just like delivered with like the utmost vitriol and like
Sure.
really kind of interesting kind of avant-garde punk kind of
Great.
them. Really interesting. So that's my 5.
All right. And if you had to choose one to be your album of 2024, what would you go for out of those?
I think that the UFO has like stayed with me to the extent that I bought it on vinyl and like I play it in the sitting room.
Sure. Sure.
You know, rather than just click it on a laptop, you know, I kind of you know, to get the full experience.
Yeah. That's brilliant. I mean, you sold me on pretty much all of those, man. They sound amazing. Cool. All right, you wanted to talk about some hip hop as well?
Yeah, I mean, this year in hip hop, it was kind of overshadowed by the Drake and Kendrick Lamar beef. Like nothing else was getting much light, you know.
I think I missed this. What happened?
Did you miss it? Like
I saw allusions to it online. I'm not an online guy. I don't know, man. Well, I saw allusions,
like,
but I don't really know what happened.
It was like I was thinking about what was it. It's like I don't watch sport, but it was like how I imagine other people get excited about a really good game. And I was thinking of soccer or what, you know.
Yeah.
Thinking of like watching Kendrick Lamar do that to Drake was like and like I know you'd be sensitive because you're English, but it was like watching Maradona in the 1980s. You know,
right.
He just like he just like dissected him lyrically, you know. And like Drake, like the Friday night, particularly, like Drake put out this kind of club record that was a diss to Kendrick, and he was expecting, you know, everyone's going to be dancing to this diss song all weekend. You know, I'll win the battle that way. Well, Kendrick, 10 minutes later, he dropped a song.
Wow.
Which was like, I don't know if you remember the subgenre of horrorcore from the 90s, like the Gravediggers and that kind of stuff.
Yes, go on. Yeah.
So really, really dark, alchemist produced beat, like piano, and like addressed like each verse, like he addresses Drake's son for the first verse, addresses his parents, and it's just like, you know, what a fuck up of a son, basically. Like,
sure.
Drake's expected everyone to be dancing, and he just stepped on it and was like, no. And then 24 hours later, he dropped "Not Like Us," which was his club song.
Right.
And you know, it was
like great stuff. Like
was like this dance, like, you know what I mean? Like he was a couple of steps ahead of Drake, you know.
Sure.
But yeah, just watching that was amazing.
Okay, that's cool.
But there was
Yes.
loads of stuff like Vince Staples released an album maybe a couple of weeks before the whole beef started, which was great. And then it just kind of went by the wayside. You know, nobody was talking about it because this thing was going on. But there's a lot of underground stuff as well, like Elucid, a rapper called Elucid.
I heard about that the other day. Why do I know that? I heard someone talking about that. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. Yeah.
His album Revelator came out really good. Like he usually he releases solo stuff, but he's in a group called Arm and Hammer with
of course, yeah.
Billy Woods.
Yeah, Billy Woods and yeah.
So
that album from last year, was it? That Arm and Hammer and Billy Wood, that Arm and Hammer record. Yeah.
Yeah, Diabetic Strips.
That was it. Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah. And like Billy Woods, like the two of them are on just a total run,
man.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
Like always, like we always kind of talk about like Marky Smith, you know,
right?
Every year.
Right.
But when you look at someone like Billy Woods, like, you know,
he had that Kenny Seagull album as well. I think it was last year again, wasn't it? Again, really good.
Yeah, and the first Hiding Places was the first collaboration with Kenny Seagull as well, and that's incredible, you know.
Yeah.
But this Elucid album's, it's cool. Like it's got like the first song, World is Dog, almost kind of drum and bass kind of buzz to it. What else? Bad Pollen, the song Bad Pollen. Billy Woods is on that, actually. He has a great line. I'm Buddy Holly on the plane. I'm focused on the next gig.
Oof.
Which is classic Billy Woods, like just like really, really dark kind of.
That is dark, yeah.
Kind of humor, you know.
Great.
Slum of Disregard, which connects kind of connects the black experience in America to Zionism, what's happening in Gaza, and that kind of stuff, like which is really, you know, I mean, when he was recording that, it must have been really fresh. You know what I mean? Other song like in the Shadow of If, talking about what, like walking around, like judging your safety on what flags are in particular districts. You know, if there's too many American flags, it's like probably not going to be too safe around here.
Sure. Wow.
But the beats on it are all really abstract and really inventive, you know, really great.
Great.
Then I have K.A. His record, The Thief Next to Jesus.
Okay.
Like K released this in August, and then he died in October.
Fuck. Wow.
Yeah, like and it was his 11th album. So he kind of produces and releases records himself. Like he was in a rap group called Natural Elements in the 90s. He left, became a firefighter. He was a fireman. And then, and then like he was involved in the rescue effort on 9/11 and stuff like that.
Wow.
And then got drawn back into rap. So he would be a firefighter during the day, and then he'd record these albums at night. And
amazing.
They're incredible. Like but The Thief Next to Jesus, he's big on, like, he'll pick a concept for a record, and the concept for this one is kind of the role of the church in Black America, you know, as particularly during slavery, as a metaphor for, you know, finally we'll get our freedom, you know, a lot of coded messages in gospel songs and things like that. but then also how the church is exploitative to black people as well.
Sure.
You know, so
Sure.
it kind of balances those two things. Some lines like in it, the FBI and Klan killed your leaders. When you gonna pay them back? In the first song.
Wow. Full on.
A song called Collection Plates. If you really wanted to bless me, you would have left me that collection plate. So really kind of scathing of the church and its role, but at the same time, like it's kind of this weird relationship. Really good. Then Doechii, she calls it a mixtape, but it sounds like an album to me. Like she had.
How are you spelling that?
DOECH double I at the end. She's on the same label as Kendrick Lamar, Top Dog Entertainment. Just a real, like, for people who kind of grew up on 90s hip hop, like particularly the first half of this record, it's like listening to it like a Redman album or something from mid 90s, you know, particularly the mid to the latter half of the 90s. Just really solid, like boom bap beats, and like she's just an amazing rapper. Like, you know, half the time it's like I don't know what she's talking about, but that's that's amazing. You know, that kind of way. You know, just the sheer joy of hearing someone do that. You know.
Great.
Yeah. What else? Yeah, Wave Generators, who is a member of New Kingdom, an ex-member of New Kingdom. Their record was really good. Kind of really kind of rock, classic, almost 70s rock influenced rap record. That was really good.
They came up on our Collapsed Lung episode quite a lot. The talking about New Kingdom.
Oh yeah. Those New Kingdom records were great. Like
they put them as their big influence, basically. Yeah.
Oh right, yeah. So I have like Kendrick Lamar's album.
Great stuff.
But he's got enough.
He doesn't need a recommendation from you. Yeah. Ah, okay, man, that's brilliant. We're going. Yeah, so we got underground hip hop and the underground of Ireland. That's brilliant. That's great.
Yeah.
Man, good stuff. All right. Anything else you want to mention before we finish it? Any other honourable mentions?
I mean, the Alan Sparhawk album that came out this year.
Yeah.
You know, one half of Low.
Right.
Amy Parker passed. And he's making this. I mean, Low were always kind of going in this direction. Like
they were like electronic kind of.
Yeah, they seem to be processing stuff more and more, and he's kind of doing that to his voice now.
What did you think? I mean, this is the first album you've mentioned that I've actually listened to, and what did you think, man? I couldn't get over what he'd done to the voice at first. Well, explain to the listeners.
He's treating it, you know. It's kind of like it's what like modern
auto-tune, yeah, or whatever.
Auto-tune, it's like what modern rappers are doing, you know. Which, like, as soon as I heard it, I was like, he needs to do a collaboration with Future or
right.
Like it will. And I remember when I heard Hey What by Low, I was thinking the same thing. Like, this is really maximalist, kind of everything processed, like kind of like Kanye West would do. Do you know what I mean? Where everything is.
I hadn't thought of it that way. Okay, I hadn't made like the hip hop connection. That's interesting.
So like someone needs to introduce him to, you know,
I'm not sure his Mormon lifestyle would fit with the rappers, but sure.
Yeah, they'd be all like offering him cough syrup and stuff.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
the record, it's really and I know he said like he processed his voice because he didn't want to hear his voice because of the grief.
Sure.
So he's
Gotta respect
I saw him
that,
live. I saw him live doing it, and it was really good. He was going for it, The volume in the venue wasn't quite loud enough. But I think I'd seen Godflesh in there before. I was expecting like to be like pummeled,
Sure.
But yeah, it was good though,
Great. I'm glad we got that mentioning because I think it's an interesting album. I love it, but maybe I'll go back to it because I just my own mental block with the voice. But okay, I'll go back to it. I will.
Yeah, and like as a companion piece to it, like listen to the Future mixtape from last year.
Okay.
I think it's called Pluto. I think it's called. Yeah, and like let's see if we can get this collaboration going between the two.
Sure. All right, that's brilliant. All right, man. Let's leave it there. Thanks so much for coming on. Just once more, your music is pure fabrication, and Bandcamp's the best place for people to listen. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. So just type pure fabrication into Bandcamp. Cool. Yeah. Thanks, man. All right. Thanks for agreeing to come on. Before we start, can you introduce yourself to the listeners, please?
Hi, Luke. Thanks so much for having me. My name is ST Darkers. I am running a small record label out of Brooklyn called Fog and Lime. You had actually Mark from Our Final Invention on your show, which was fantastic. And I know that you have spectacular taste in music, so I'm super happy to be here to talk about my less spectacular taste in music.
Yeah, no, man. Yeah, well, you're the inspiration for this whole episode. So you sent me a message saying, maybe we could talk about music, and I thought, well, people aren't going to put up with us talking about really obscure shit for ages and ages, but we might be able to get away with 15 minutes of it if it's mixed in with other people. So you were the inspiration for it. So thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm super excited. But yeah, are you gonna? Well, yeah. I'll ask you questions.
Sure. And so you wanted to make it clear that this is not your final list. There's no particular order because you haven't decided it yet, and we understand the stress this causes. So people shouldn't take this as a definitive answer, right?
Yeah. No. It's not. It's still being agonized over daily.
Yeah.
So even today, in anticipation of the show, I was like, possibly I can have a sequence ready. But that was over wishful thinking, really.
Yeah.
Because if anything, I shuffled the sequence even more today.
Oh man, I picked up a record yesterday that went straight into my top 10. I didn't even know about before. So, okay.
This is what happens. I'm waiting for something to arrive Monday that I was hoping would arrive by today, so I could show it, but it's not going to happen.
Right. It's all right. We can still talk about it. All right.
Yeah.
How many have you got for us? How many are we going
to? I grabbed a stack because I think I have like a lot, like 50, more than 15.
Okay.
But
well, let's
I
get
can
into
go
it.
less or more. Yeah, whatever you.
All right. Let's get into it then. Let's bang through. Okay. Yeah. What are you going to talk about first?
Okay. First one is a neutral pick because I know it would be in my top 5, so that's the only reason why it's here. It's fairly obvious to somebody who's into this kind of indie music, I guess. And it's one of my favorites, Dean Blunt.
Oh.
Dean Blunt. Yeah, so Dean Blunt, this is a very short EP. It's like 18 minutes long. It costs like $1 bazillion, which is horrible. But Dean Blunt recorded this with Joanne Robertson, who's from Manchester in England. So he's done like 3 or 4 albums with her. And Dean Blunt, for me, is probably, honestly, there's a lot of musicians in the world, like million. I don't know how many. I don't want to say there's not billions, but there's a lot of musicians. But Dean Blunt stands out as one of the most bizarre, I'd say overall just bizarre people. He He has alter egos. He has projects which he never has advertised. His records don't have a barcode on them, which means, they're not being registered in any sales thing. His record label is called World Music, which is like the worst name ever for a record label. What are you looking for? World Music? Just everything about him. Yeah, everything about him doesn't make sense. And yet he's got this insane cult following, me, who are waiting for the second it drops. They sell out in like 10 minutes. He plays shows. I will just tell, for any of your listeners who don't know who Dean Blunt is, I'll just explain to you. There's this amazing video on YouTube, the NME Awards from 2015, where Jarvis Cocker, I don't know if you've ever seen this, Jarvis Cocker is presenting the Best Newcomer Award to Dean Blunt in 2015. Wow. I mean, first of all, he started in like 2007, so to give him a Newcomer Award 2015. But Jarvis Cocker introduces him and says, I heard this record, he was amazing. And he says, thank you, Dean Blunt. And Dean Blunt, this guy walks out of the crowd, takes the longest route ever to get to the stage. It's not Dean Blunt. It's like some muscular dude.
Right, he just sent him up there. Right.
Yeah, and he just gets up there and he goes, thanks to the Almighty, I finally made it. And that's not Dean Blunt. Like, that's not Dean Blunt at all. Zero. So Dean Blunt, I highly, highly recommend Backstage.
Brilliant. Well, you introduced me to his work, and I love him as well. So that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Totally. That was pretty fast.
It's good.
Okay. This is one of the potential number ones. The thing about this is that it's unlike anything I've ever really bought before. And so this took me into a gateway into a couple other records in this list. So this is a German band called Rope Sect.
Yeah.
Rope Sect. Okay, I've been trying to think of a description, and I've described this band in many different ways now over the past year. I think what I figured out is, if you know how like everybody's ostracized Morrissey now for many years, like he kind of
rightly so,
pushed into a Mexican corner where he's really big. And if you ostracize Morrissey enough and send him into kind of a satanic world, like a slightly satanic occult, BDSM kind of, I don't know, some sort of a side world, I think he would end up sounding like Rope Sect. And that's
I like it.
Rope Sect is full of musicians from metal bands, like black metal bands, but they play black metal. So this is the sound of if you grabbed a bunch of black metal musicians and told them to play, like post-punk. And so for me, this record is like endlessly fascinating because you can tell black metal musicians playing what sounds like indie music, but occasionally you'll hear like a blast of like metal drums coming out of the back, and you just know that they want to go out, but they're like sticking to this little act that they have as Rope Sect. So this record, though, I've never listened to black metal in my life. I ended up sort of wandering off into this corner to look for black metal records that have this kind of sound. So
post black metal, I guess, right?
Yeah. So there's all these names. These names are also really atmospheric black metal, post black metal, black gaze, which is
black gaze, right?
Gaze, which I love the name Black Gaze.
Sure, right.
And it's a natural thing. You think of shoegaze and black metal. Yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah.
And then the singer's name is Inmesher. It's not even a real name. So nobody knows their face. They have no photos online. Nobody knows what they look like. He has like Dean Blunt, he has like a million projects. So now I'm chasing projects. It's got like a folk project, like I don't know, all sorts of stuff.
Brilliant.
So Rope Sect, this record is fantastic though. It's so melodious and it's so like, it's got that kind of chameleon-y kind of thing going too. So really, really,
cool.
Really good. Yeah.
Good one. Yeah, I think I had a listen when you posted about it way back in the year, and really liked it. So
that's an early favorite. Yeah. So this one is really cool. This is a musician from Cyprus. That little island between. I think she's from Cyprus. Between Turkey and Greece.
Yeah.
Spivak. I don't know if you've heard of her before. She has a few records.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
On Ecstatic Records, which is like hard and Not Waving and stuff like that.
Okay.
So she has a few records out. This one is brand new. I love the title of it. It's called Big 2007 Facts, which is something I've been like this title. I keep thinking about 2007. Like what happened in 2007? I can't think of much. So,
yeah,
you know, I talked to her sometimes. I should probably just ask her what it means. But
yeah.
Interestingly, I don't have the scarf, but she sold me a scarf with it too, which is, it says Big 2007 Facts on it, which is quite a scarf.
Yeah. Great.
So, but this is really floaty sounding, and it's like the third or fourth album now. I dare not use the term hypnagogic pop, which is one of the strangest terms.
Please do.
Have you heard of this term before? Yeah.
Hypnagogic pop. I mean, I could. Yeah, sure. I can guess. Yeah, I like it.
Time between sleep and wake. Does it sound like? Yeah, it kind of does. Yeah. She's actually the only musician I can listen to autotune by. There's no other musician I can. Can you listen to autotune?
I was talking about this in one of the other contributors. He talked about the Alan Sparhawk record, right? The low guy, his whole album completely auto-tuned, right? What? And I couldn't get past it, man. I couldn't get past it. I mean, I love his songs, but I couldn't get past it. Yeah,
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, even Kanye, I can't do it. I can't do it with
no. Yeah.
Her, I can make an exception for her. She's the only one.
Cool.
But yeah, I'm actually hoping to do something with her on the label next year. So
that'd be great. Okay.
Yeah. So,
brilliant.
Okay, this one, this is really special. Moin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moin. Is that the right way? This way. Yeah. Moin. You know. Oh yeah. See.
Thought you might pull that up. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Love
That's
this
great.
One. I think it sounds fantastic.
Yeah. I was trying to describe it the other day. It's kind of so post everything, right?
Post everything, yeah. It's got pieces of everything, right? It's got kind of like beats, and then it's got sludgy stuff.
Yeah.
Crunchy stuff, and then
hip hop.
Yeah.
It's post hip hop, post rock, post punk, but it's post everything. Yeah.
I think their sound is truly, first of all, it's original, but it's also very modern. Like it's of today.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, which is really cool. I don't know if you're into Rame. Like they're the same three people that are in Moin are in Rame.
Yeah.
Which is yeah. So Rame was like a huge influence on me. When I first heard Rame, it really blew me away. It was dark, slow, and kind of grinding. It was really different.
Yeah. Good. Well, that's definitely very high up in my list as well. So
yeah.
Currently sitting at number 3. Subject to change, but currently sitting at number 3 in my top 10. So
yeah. So mine goes between 1, 2, and 3 for that record.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Okay. What else? Oh, this is really cool. I don't know if you've heard this before. This is from Lithuania, called Broken Chord.
No, not at all. Stone Island Tracks. Nice.
This is a guy who, from what I know, he did some electronic records before. He did a Radiohead remix, like bizarrely enough. I don't know which era. I'm not good with later Radiohead, but he did a remix for them. You know what? It might have been one of those things where they like put out the stems and they have like a contest and like something.
Yeah.
Ones I always think I'll do, but I never do because I'm too lazy. But yeah. So this record is awesome. This has that I have this sound in my head which I never hear, which is kind of like dusty beats. Some of the 90s kind of underground hip hop had this where it was kind of like not well produced, but it was well produced too, and it's sort of sounded dusty and broken a little bit, and kind of had a groove. It wasn't so refined, where the production is perfect and stuff. So you can kind of tell that he's doing it like through lo-fi stuff a little bit, and it's really, really good, like really groovy. And now, again, I was speaking to him too, like I'm trying to get him to the US to do a show in Brooklyn, but he's got a full band now. Like he I think he did it himself, but he's got like 4 or 5 people, and their live stuff sounds awesome. Like it sounds like a band from the 90s. Like they're starting to sound a little bit like a old school Manchester baggy sound. So
good stuff. New one for me. Cool. That sounds right up my street. Brilliant.
Broken Chord. What else? How are we doing on time?
We're good. Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
See how many more we can get through.
Yeah. I'm trying not to blabber. I blabber a lot, Luke.
It's good, man. Love it.
This one, it's another kind of. I think the theme this year has been people I don't seem to know who they are, and this is another one. It's a guy named Honor. So Honor, So Honor he's on the Pan label, which is a cool label. And Honor, kind of like Dean Blunt, has 3 or 4 things out. Nobody knows exactly who he is, although there's speculation. Some people actually thought it was Dean Blunt in the beginning, but it's not Dean Blunt. It's kind of not a Dean Blunt sound, but some people again seem to say it's kind of Dean Blunt sounding, but it's a little creepier and sort of darker, and again, kind of that floaty. I'm going to say it again, hypnagogic. Such a cool word. Not that feel, but there's a really annoying part in this song, in this album, where it's just like a frequency. Don't you hate it when records do that? There's like a 1-minute frequency which like melts your ear.
Yeah.
And then after that, there's just this low bass, and it's that. As much as I hate that frequency, that low bass is so cool after that frequency that it's one of those moments of genius, where
sure.
Take the pain.
Great. Looks good.
Take the pain. Willingly. Okay. The first of the true black metal records coming in. This one's hilarious.
That's true with a V instead of a U, I hope.
Yeah. It's got the writing in it. Oh, yeah. It's got the font and everything.
Yeah.
This is like the first true black metal record I bought. And what is it called? I always forget. A Lunarian Bellmaster. So
what's the band name? I can't read the logo.
Band name is Oriole. Not
like the biscuit.
Areolar, but it's
no.
Aureole. And
all right.
They're from Ukraine. I think they're from the Ukraine. Although one side said Portland, which is kind of strange, but the other side said Ukraine. So it might be a Ukrainian living in Portland.
Sure.
But this is such a cool record. I've never heard a record like this. This is called Black Gaze. This falls under this realm of Black Gaze. But the sound of it, I don't think I've ever heard drums like this before. So the drums have kind of like this dubby thing on top of like black metal drums. So black metal drums with an echo. So when I listen to this, because I've listened to a lot of dub, like I was old school into dub, like King Tubby and Gibbs and all that stuff. And like, so whenever I hear dub like drums, my ear just like runs to it and thinks drum, but dub. So this has like, I think they weren't really purposely doing that. I think they accidentally created like a dub sound, which is so magical when you combine it with like a guy screaming in the distance somewhere.
Sure. In a forest. Yeah.
Unlike anything I've ever heard. It sounds like it's recorded. Like I played this for my son and he said it sounds like they're playing in a very large place. And I was like, yeah,
right.
Exactly how it sounds.
Sure. Great.
This is a
that sounds great.
Record. Yeah. I mean, it's nerdy as hell. When you get into the details, it's like the songs are called 10,000 Bells Resonate Cosmos Untold. It's like all the things I would never, ever look at.
It's good stuff, man.
Yeah.
I like a bit of black metal, so that's great.
Yeah, it's got, apparently he sampled like 30 different types of bells. So there's like bells on this record.
That's commitment. Yeah.
Commitment. For me, the drums just killed it. When I heard this, I was like, I need this in my life, that drum.
Brilliant.
Okay, New York City tip.
Yeah.
There's only one band that like I'm actually semi excited about in New York right now.
They're called what?
Fuckers. But they're
Fuckers.
It's spelled F-C-U-K-E-R-S.
Right, that's pussying out a bit, but all right. Yeah.
Well, this reminds me of, what was there, a clothing brand called FC?
Yeah, FC UK. Yeah. French Connection UK.
Yeah. Yeah, fuckers. You know what they sound like though? Why? So it's not something I would ever listen to now, but in the 2000s, you probably remember the Electroclash era. I
liked a bit of that.
Into it. I was so into it. So this reminds me of one of those bands that like mysteriously got lost for 25 years and then have shown up again.
Right.
So they capture that kind of dirtiness
Yeah. Oh, that's very New York. Okay, that's cool.
Very New York. Very New York. So fuckers, this is a debut EP. Sold out pretty fast. I think they're doing really well, but I don't really know. I don't like what's trending anymore.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, how we doing? We've probably got time for a few more. All right, let's get to the core. Yeah, let's get to the core. Come on.
All right, let's do that. All right. Well, we should probably do another metal one too already. Well, we'll do this guy. This guy, I mean, part of this annoys me that if you've heard of Ecomania.
No, that sounds great.
This is great. This is a guy from Ghana. He's a percussionist from Ghana. But there's something annoying about this record is that he's apparently one of the musicians who plays with Jimmy Tenor. Do you know who Jimmy Tenor is?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Helsinki. Do you like Jimmy Tenor?
Yeah, Finnish guy. Yeah.
Yeah, Finnish guy. Do you like Jimmy Tenor?
No.
Same as you. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah, same as you. Same.
Okay.
So that kind of annoyed me, but then I heard this album. It was awesome because it's like dub, and then it's got the African drumming and like it's totally different, right? So that love, there's this little niche of, well, it's not little niche, I should say. The origins of dub were involved with Nyabingi drums, from like Africa. So that there were like a few different drum types that really created like the dub scene, like the Rastafarian movement. So Count Ossie, I don't know how familiar you are with Count Ossie. Count Ossie, like the 60s and 70s, was really like the originator of that drumming coming to Jamaica. So I'm like kind of obsessed with Count Ossie. So this record, when I heard it, kind of reminded me of Count Ossie kind of stuff, where it's dub mixed with that African tribal Nyabingi kind of 4/4.
Great.
So this is really cool. Yeah, it's a really cool.
That sounds like my cup of tea.
Yeah, he's been around for ages, but I think this is his first record ever released. So,
oh man,
really
great. Cool. Oh man, this video is going to cost me a lot of money. It's good stuff, man. It's going to cost me a lot of money.
I mean, when's your video going to happen?
Oh well, I'll put it on the end. I'll put mine on the end of the episode. Yeah.
Do I have time for two more?
Two more. Let's do it.
Okay. This one, maybe you don't know. I heard this song on one of the NTS mixes, and like I don't even know what language it is, what sound it is, or anything, but it sounds like witches, witches sing to me in the evening.
Sure.
And I looked it up and I tracked it down, and this is what it looks like. It's witches. Like everything about this record is witches. Oh, you have it. See?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And Tristan, I don't know how to.
How do you pronounce this, mate? Go on, you try.
Triswich Feniwad.
Oh man,
that's a very
who knows, right? Who knows?
But you know what it means? Do you know what the name means?
No. Do you know?
Sadness of women.
Nice.
Which is so cool. Actually, it's a pretty cool name.
It's cool, man. It's like psychedelic-y, witchy, good stuff, right?
Yeah. When I first heard this for like 3 days, I was like, "This is my number one," and then it sort of you can only listen to witches for so long.
I don't know, man. It kind of buries into you, man. I've listened to it a bunch. It's great.
I've listened to it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, you do have to be in that witches kind of mood, like.
Sure.
You can't you can't be having like an ice cream sundae and like.
No.
Okay, last one is another metal. So this record, I was actually driving home today listening to it, and I was dying laughing because it's another black metal record. It looks very mysterious and kind of like Ride Nowhere, but a black metal version of it.
Sure, 100%.
Band from Germany called Vemod, the deepening. And I there's a great song on here which has been like one of my top 5 songs of the year this year. It's called True North Beckons on here. And True North Beckons is this like really long, it's probably like 9 or 10 minutes long. It's funny for me that like this is another situation where they sound really black metal for some parts of it, and then they kind of turn into this like mid-level indie band for a little while, and then they turn back into black metal. And it makes me laugh always because it's kind of like they just kind of ease up for a while, become like a normal band, and then they turn back into black metal. But I think I'm fascinated with that idea of when they go back and forth between these sounds and whatever. But they have another post-punk kind of sound to them, heavier than Ropes, but really, really cool.
Great.
Either way,
Great.
album, I think.
Very mod. Brilliant.
Yes.
Again, these all sound great.
Amazing. Yeah, I have some more, but I think it's good for now.
Yeah. All right.
You guys,
that's great.
did you have any? Did you buy any good reissues this year?
I think I don't really do reissues. No, I don't know.
No, do you reissue?
Do you want to have one honorable mention for a reissue? Go on.
I mean, I do a reissue because this record is amazing.
Okay, HMS Fable. Yeah.
You ever heard that before?
Yeah.
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 So it was.
Yeah, it was never released on vinyl, right? Yeah.
We've actually got a lot of fans in Japan. Actually, Shaq.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's some guy who was like pressing up his own copies in Tokyo. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But anyway, Shaq.
Cool.
Great.
All right, thanks so much, man. Let's leave it there. And but yeah, loads to dig into for people listening that they probably won't know. So thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Luke. Can't wait to see yours.
Michael, thank you so much for agreeing to take part in this little experiment of mine. I appreciate it. So first of all, could you introduce yourself to people listening and watching?
Yeah, I'm Mike. I'm pretty active in the Facebook group. I've been following the podcast since, well, before it started, actually, when the idea was mooted, and I know Neil had a few weeks where he was doing sort of guess the celebrity. So yeah, been involved pretty much from the start. So really loving the podcast. It's great.
Thanks, man.
Amazing. I'm similar to you guys in terms of sort of riding the wave of nostalgia. You know, Dave's sort of 30-year echo, I think he calls it. So yeah, very, very much enjoying it. So it's good to just be able to take part in this and yeah, have a chat with you.
Brilliant. And for people that are listening and not watching, Mike's got an excellent Mogwai t-shirt on that I have to mention. So yeah, it's brilliant. It's great. All right, let's get into it then. So have you done a list, and is it in order?
It's not in order. No, I tried. I've got a list of albums. I thought, well, I'll do a top 5, and then I tried to put it into an order. I just couldn't. And then it kept changing anyway. And then last night I realised I've missed a record that I really enjoyed from this year, so I've chucked that in as well. So yeah, it's a bit of a hodgepodge, really.
There's no rules, man. Let's just do it. Okay, what do you got first?
Okay,
what do you want to talk about?
Well, I thought the first one to talk about, because you're joining us from Tokyo, is Mono. And I think it's the 12th studio album that came out this year. Oath.
Wow.
Which is exactly what I would expect from them. You know, from the very start. I don't know if you listen to Mono, but
yeah, I know them. Yeah,
from the very start, they've been exceptional. You know, what they deliver is consistently brilliant. And they're just one of those bands that if they release something, you just know it's going to be awesome. And yeah, the first time I listened to it, absolutely brilliant. Anyone that doesn't know, it's kind of in the post-rock genre, so it's quite long, instrumental, no vocals. This album's got quite a lot of orchestration on it, so it's got loads of strings and stuff like that, which they kind of do quite a bit of, but a lot more on this album. And I guess the other thing that's kind of interesting about this, and with some of the things we talked about before, it was pretty much Steve Albini's last piece of work before he passed away.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So
okay,
I'm not sure if he was actually working with them when it happened or immediately afterwards, but yeah, so they obviously suffered that loss quite a bit as well. But yeah, it's a cracking album, start to finish, and anyone who's not into post rock, I would definitely suggest that is a good place to start.
Yeah, great. I mean, I know Mono, of course. I haven't kept up with what they've been doing for the last few years, I have to admit. But I had a quick listen last night, and yeah, I mean, like you say, it's a Mono record, right?
It's just epic, isn't it?
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely amazing stuff.
Yeah, like it's just high quality post rock, basically. Oh, really?
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, last year, not this year. I think it was last year they came to Manchester. Well, they toured. I mean, they tour so much. They are always out on the road. And I got to see them first time I'd seen them, and it was just, blew me away.
Yeah,
as you'd expect.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, good one. All right, what's next?
So my next one, it follows a similar sort of theme, more shoegazy, but Dive. I don't know if you know Dive.
I didn't know how that was pronounced, but yes, DIIV, right? I didn't know how to pronounce it.
I think they used to be Dive, as you'd normally expect it, DIVE, but then they changed the name, and I wasn't sure whether it was because of the resurgence of slow dive, because they're in the same genre. It's shoegaze, so really lush, loads of reverb over the guitars, whispery vocals, that sort of stuff. But it's classic. It's a really, really good album. I've not really sort of been into dive that much, but had a listen to this one and immediately sort of fell in love. In terms of references to the 90s, I guess there's a bit of Catherine Wheel in there. I hear a bit of Mew as well, but there's loads of Mogwai. You can tell there's kind of loads of sounds that you could hear Mogwai being creating. So yeah, good stuff, that one.
It's a funny one, that, I mean, that's a record I've seen in like every record shop I've been in this year, basically. Just like that cover, the Frogs in Boiling Water, right?
Yeah.
That kind of red and kind of white and grey cover. And I've seen it everywhere, and I was like, why is this turning up? Like, they must have some special distribution or something. I've just seen it like everywhere, and then I hadn't listened to it though. But again, I gave it a quick listen, and like you say, yeah, great stuff.
Yeah.
Brilliant. All right, what's next?
So the next one, in fact, the next couple are bands that I've only just discovered this year, and it's one of my sad pastimes, just I use Bandcamp quite a lot, and the algorithms in Bandcamp are really good. The sort of recommendations. So if you're listening to something, it'll sort of recommend you might like this band and all that sort of stuff. And so I quite often sort of just go down these rabbit holes of, try this, and then follow it on from there. And quite often it's, I'm not interested. But I discovered Babe Report. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're sort of like, I guess you describe them as post-punk, out of Chicago, 4-piece out of Chicago. Again, had never heard of them. This is the debut album. It's called, what's it called? Did You Get Better? 10 tracks, under 30 minutes. Every track's a couple of minutes. Really quite chaotic, bit lo-fi, but stacks of energy. And it's one of those records, I just heard it and immediately fell in love with it. It didn't take any listening to. It was like, wow, this is so good. There's an EP that they released, I don't know, a couple of years ago, which is very good as well. But definitely worth a listen to this one. Again, in terms of references, I could hear a bit of early Husker Du in there. Eric's Trip, I don't know if you're familiar with them from Canada.
No.
And who else? Idlewild. There's quite a lot of that sort of sound in there, quite punky, quite edgy.
Early Idlewild, yeah. Well, but, you gave me kind of a preview of some of these albums by email, and that's one I'd never heard of. But like you say, like instant, right? Yeah, really, really enjoyed it. Really cool sound. Yeah. Nice find, man. Great.
Yeah. It's always good. It's great when that happens. And you're obviously into your records. I think you probably do yours more analog. You're in the record stores, sifting through.
But I mean, I'm on Bandcamp first. Yeah, I discard a lot from like you say, some you like, some you don't, and then if it's really gets me, then I'll try to get hold of it. Good one.
Cool.
All right.
The next one, I really don't know how to pronounce this. I think it's Shanda, which is German for shame, I think. But it's just a 3-piece out of the UK. But again, I did a bit of research into them, and I don't know. Well, I didn't know why they were in the UK because the lead, I think she's called Jennifer, is from the US. The drummer's from Canada, and the bassist is from Italy. But they're all based in the UK. And as I sort of researched it, it transpires that the reason that Jen's in the UK was because she was working with Thurston Moore. She was involved in his guitar ensemble. And then this record, it's released on one of Thurston Moore's sub-labels under Ecstatic Peace. So there's obviously some connection there. Clearly he's in the UK now. In terms of what it sounds like, the thing that I've seen...
Wait, I didn't know that. Thurston Moore's in the UK, like permanently.
He's lived in the UK for probably about 10 years, since the breakup of his marriage.
I had no
with
idea.
Gordon.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's in here. Although I think he was in the US recently. There was a gig somewhere where he was playing with Steve Shen and Lee Ronaldo, which must have been absolutely amazing. Sort of 3/4 of Sonic Youth back together.
Yeah.
Sadly, that's one thing that's never going to
interesting.
happen.
Yeah. Go, sorry, go on. I interrupted you. Go on.
No, it's fine.
God.
So what was I saying? Yeah, so in terms of what they are, I couldn't really decide where to place them. So I picked this out. I read somewhere that they were described as a melodic fuzz rock that's somewhere between the Breeders and Sonic Youth. So that's all
you need to know.
Reference to Sonic Youth got me thinking, and you know, there's a few sort of alternative tunings and stuff like that, but bass lines are Breeders-ish. But it's relatively relaxed. I think it's not as intense as Bay Report, but it's a really good listen. It's fun. I posted one of the tracks on the group a few months ago when I kind of found it. Again, it was sort of out with the excitement. I was listening to it first time, and it was like, oh wow, this is really good. Chuck it out there, see who else is interested.
Yeah, so, another great find, man. Good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Next one is probably the one that you're not looking forward to, The Cure. And it's a strange one because I know earlier I'd sort of like posted about you should listen to Disintegration, and
I tried. I really tried, man. I did. I did my duty.
So I'm not a sort of hardcore Cure fan. I've not followed them really since Disintegration, but I really got into Disintegration in a massive way, and that's one of probably the top 10 albums if I had to do that. And this one, Songs from a Lost World, it's sort of like when I heard, I think was it Alone that they released first? As soon as I heard it, I thought stick a little bit more reverb on that, and it's just pure Disintegration. And then everything else that came out after that, Fragile and the other tracks, it just took me back to Disintegration, and that's why I loved it. So it's not that I'm a huge Cure fan. It's just
that's fair, man.
And a lot of the themes are the same in it as well. And I was kind of like listening to it and thinking, well, I loved Disintegration when I was whatever age I was, 14, 15. And like now as a 50-year-old listening to this, and sort of a lot of the themes are the same, but it's like you get a completely different perspective, sort of 35 odd years later. A lot of all the stuff about loss and all of that sort of thing. It's good.
It's true. It does hit it different when you're our age. Yeah, that's true. I try, man. I loved that first single, Alone. I thought that was amazing. I really like the final song on it. It's called like The End or something like that. I really like that.
End song.
I just thought it kind of meandered in the middle, man. I don't know. It wasn't. I didn't dislike it. Put it that way.
I guess the thing I understand what you're saying, and I guess the thing that got me was the way that they released it, and having the release gig at the Troxy and putting that on.
That was cool, right? Yeah.
It's ridiculous however long it was, sort of 2.5, 3 hours of them just going at it over sort of 4 sets. It's just like crazy. But all of that, there was anticipation, which it's been a long time. Normally when I sort of like listen or realize that something's being released, it's after the event. I don't really
right
get the anticipation of a release like you did
as well. As the Arctic Monkey said, anticipation has a habit of to set you up for disappointment. Arctic Monkey song goes. Well, I wasn't disappointed. It just, I don't know, I liked it. I just didn't love it like everyone else, basically.
I get it. But as I say, the only reason I think I love it is because I love Disintegration so much. But there it is.
That's fair. I don't have that emotional connection, so that's fair. That's fair.
Absolutely. Next one I've got is the one that I forgot about. I only remembered about it last night, and that's the Jay Vasquez album that came out this year. What do we do now? And again, the reason I've included this one is massive fan of Dinosaur Jr. and everything that they've done originally and then more recently. But I've never been a huge fan of Jay's stuff on his own, which is a bit sacrilegious, I guess. But it's never sort of like gripped me. It's good, but it's not quite the same as Dinosaur Jr. But this album's awesome. It's just really, really, really good. Lots of what you'd expect. It's kind of like acoustic guitars with his solos over the top of it, bit of piano in there as well, which kind of works really nicely. And it's just it's a bit more laid back, a bit more chill, but it's nice. There's so many good songs on it. I thought, well, I'll chuck that one in as well because it's Dinosaur Jr. related.
And Dinosaur Jr. Sure. All right, that's brilliant. That's a good list, man. And any more you want to talk about? Any mentions?
The only other three that I've got just as the honourable mentions, there's Ride's album that came out this year, Into Play.
That was this year, wasn't it? I completely forgot about that.
Very early this year. Big Ride fan. Not a big fan of this album, must admit. It's kind of, I listened to it once and then probably didn't listen to it for a month or so because it didn't grab me. But the more I've listened to it, the more it's got under my skin. So it's a great album, but it's low burn as opposed to a pow, hit you in the eye type thing.
Sure.
Oh Hiroshima, they're another, a Swedish post-rock band.
Yeah.
They had an album this year, All Things Shining, which similar in some respects to Mono, where we started this thing. And then a bit more post-rock for us, Godspeed You Black Emperor. That record is, I saw them live before the album was released, and they're just so incredible live.
It's my number 2 album of the year. Yeah. It just totally blew me away, man. Yeah.
You just get lost in it, don't you?
Yeah. And oh man, everything about it just completely speaks to me. Yeah. Good. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. That's good. Get that in.
Well, I felt I had to, but no, it's great. it is good. A hard listen if you don't know what you're expecting with Godspeed. It's a bit of a surprise, isn't it? But they're so good.
But everything, man, like the song titles and the concept and everything, is just like, oh fuck yeah, man. Yeah.
The live shows, I don't know if you've seen them live, but
a couple of times, a few times.
I haven't until this year. I saw them a couple of months ago when they're up in Manchester, and I was actually on the balcony, and they obviously project stuff onto the screen, so I was kind of like stood next to the projectionist and was pretty much watching him, because you can't see the guys on stage. They're pretty much fully blacked out, but it was amazing just watching him sort of spooling the reels and running these projections on the screen. So really sort of amazing experience. Not the sort of thing that you normally get from a gig.
That's true, man. That's true. I think I saw them as early as like 99 or something like that, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, in Brighton. Ah, man. Yeah, so good. All right, that is an incredible list. Brilliant. Thank you so much. Some new stuff for me to dig into, probably, especially Babe Report, man. I'm going to give that like a full. I listened to a couple of tracks, but not the full album. That's going to get a full airing later on, I think.
I'd say that's up your street. From
It's great. That's great. There's some other stuff you wanted to talk about as well, right? Before we finish.
Yeah, it was just a very quick plug. Obviously, in the group, there's quite a lot of interest in Mega City 4. And quite a lot of people in the Facebook group are also in the Mega City 4 Facebook group as well, and we've got quite a nice community there. And when you spoke to Jerry, you talked briefly about the Forward Voice Trust, which is a charitable piece that kind of helps young musicians in the area. This is like the Farnborough area where the band were originated from, so like Reading and all around there. And next January, the weekend of the 18th and 19th, there are a couple of events that are being held. It coincides with what would have been Wizzy's birthday, or what is Wizzy's birthday. On the Saturday night, there's a gig at the Farnborough Football Club, and there are three acts playing. There's a guy, one man, and an acoustic guitar called Wob, and an amazing voice. There's a Mega City 4 covers band, believe it or not, called Mega Fishy 4, and
we post on the Facebook page regularly. Great to hear about that.
And I've heard them a couple of times now, and I know them as well. And they're so faithful to to the originals. They sound great. They played at Farnborough Football Club a couple of years ago, and Chris and Jerry from the band actually came down to listen to them. So they were a little bit nervous as to how that would be received, but they both loved it. So they got the kind of the royal seal of approval. From Jerry, which is wonderful. So they're playing, and then a band across from Germany are playing called Soul Scraper. So that's on the Saturday night. But then on the Sunday, there's then an acoustic event which is being held. I think it's at the Thatched Cottage pub in Farnborough at 1 p.m. I'll be playing, and there's 6 other guys that are going to be playing. So it's just acoustic. We'll all be doing Mega City 4 songs, so we're all covering Mega City 4 songs. I'll be doing a bit of Senseless Things and Wonderstuff as well. So yeah, it's just really sort of to encourage anybody that's in the area to come down either on the Saturday night, or if you can't make that, come for a pint and a Sunday lunch and listen to a bit of music from the 90s. Should be good. We're a friendly bunch, and obviously it's all raising money for the Forward for Wiz Trust. So anything we could do to support that is a good thing.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. And you got your is it okay to mention you got your YouTube channel where you do your cover versions and stuff, right? Do you want to plug that?
Yeah. You can indeed, yeah. So I started off doing a whole load of Mega City 4 covers in the Mega City 4 group, but I kind of like done a whole. This is over lockdown, so I started playing again over lockdown, and do a whole load of covers of 90s bands. So we've got the Lemonheads, Teenage Fan Club. There's a bit of Nirvana that I've done, Ride, all sorts of stuff from the area. Yeah, indeed, yeah. So and that's called, what's it even called now?
It's called My Cover Story.
Yeah, absolutely. So I thought, well, I'll try and sort of describe my youth through the music that I listen to. So all the stuff in there. I've got a bunch of other stuff. I've not done stuff for a while. I've been rehearsing for this gig in January, but I've got a list of loads of things that I want to put on there. So I'll keep checking those out occasionally.
Yeah, and people listening, subscribe, have a listen on YouTube. Oh, they're all great, man. They're all great. I always love them. So
appreciate that.
It's great. Cheers. All right, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for coming on. It's brilliant.
Okay, well, yeah, before we finish, I'd just like to say thanks to you guys as well, because as I said, was talking to you before we recorded, it's brilliant. The podcast is great. It's just great.
Oh, stop it. I'm going to cut you off. Stop it. Come on.
Okay. Well,
no, go on. More. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about Dave, obviously.
But, Dave, I know. Yeah. I appreciate that, man. I do.
It's really good fun, and it's a good way to spend Fridays listening to whoever you have next. Looking forward to seeing who else you have on the roster.
Appreciate it. Brian and John, thanks for coming on. First of all, do you want to introduce yourselves? John, do you want to go first?
John. what fuck I want me to say, man?
Good enough, man. Brian.
How am I going to top that? I'm Brian.
Exactly. Right. You're both in Japan, right?
Yeah, I'm originally from Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
In the States.
Yeah. John?
Wait a minute. Are we waiting for Dave? Where's Dave?
Dave's not here.
I thought he'd be on, man.
I know. He refuses to come on. I'm trying to get him to.
Where's he
fucker? I know. Compliments on your Harrington before we start, by the way, John. I'm the owner of many Harringtons. It's good to see.
Me too. Have you got one this colour?
I don't. I used to have, but it went somehow. I don't have one of the colour at the moment. No.
So usually, if you'd call me, I'd be wearing a pair of shit stoppers and a fucking old hoodie, right, like pajamas. Yeah. But because we're on the video thing, and you've always got a nice Fred Perry, so I've got a nice one on too, right?
Right.
And also because I know Neil likes he likes smart looking boys. What was it he said? Like fucking
did he say
what
that?
He said
he likes smart looking boys. Is this a quote?
He said he likes cool. He's always talking about men being cool, isn't he? So I was thinking about putting the black eyeliner on for him, you know?
Right. He would have liked that.
Well, I'm not going to kink shame anybody.
No.
Can be whatever he's into, mate. Whatever.
No. Good to see the Harrington.
But yeah.
All right, so let's get into it. Let's talk about some records of the year. Who wants to go first?
So for me, the best one that I listen to most is a band called Sheer Mag.
Oh yeah, I know Sheer Mag. Yeah, it's like. Do you want to describe them to the listeners?
It's hard to they're like a 70s style rock type thing, but with a modern twist to it. It's really this new album. It sounds like they're doing like Jackson 5 type of stuff as well. Like,
oh really?
Yeah, it's this kind of Motown, but stoner rock type of stuff. But it's same time, it's still like alternative. It's a weird mess of sounds. But it's a good album, if you can listen to it.
Cool. I think I heard like their second album when it came out. I don't think I've heard anything since then. So
yeah, well, they were supposed to come to Japan, and then right before Corona, and that got canceled.
Okay. All right. Good one, John. What you got for us?
What, the best one? Is what you want?
Well, up to you. You can go if you want to build up the tension. You can build them up.
Like, there's a lot of albums I listen to, right, and checked out, but they never. I mean, even if I think it's good, it's nowhere near as good as the stuff from the '90s by the same bands. You know what I mean? But
sure.
I mean, probably number one, probably Paul Weller's album '66 came out.
Is that one of his weird avant-garde fucking jazz things, or is that like a proper?
It's quite acoustic based, this one, and he's got like a lot of guest musicians like Noel Gallagher and like what's that cunt called from the Blow Monkeys? Fucking
from the Blow Monkeys.
What's he called, man? That cunt, Doctor whatever, come with the eye patch.
Dr. Monkey.
I know who the Blow Monkeys are, but I can't.
It's not that fucking that captain that was walking up and down his fucking garden for fucking money.
Captain Tom, man.
It's not that cunt.
And they stole all the charity money to build themselves a pool. Not that captain. Not Captain Sensible. All right. Anyway,
what his name is.
Bloke from the Blow Monkeys.
Yeah. I enjoyed that one.
All right. Are you one of those people that just listens to whatever Weller puts out?
Yeah, but there was a period that's not that good. But
you went
stuff in the '90s.
You went and saw them this year, didn't you?
I saw him twice. Yeah, I saw him this year. Saw him last year.
How was he?
He's fantastic, man.
Yeah,
I love
Paul Weller, man. Yeah.
Yeah, he does a lot of Star Council songs. He does a few jam.
Okay,
it's cool, yeah.
Yeah. All right, good one. What's next, Brian? Go on, give us another.
It's a band called Yam Bag.
That sounds a bit rude, doesn't it? Yam Bag.
We had to look it up on Urban Dictionary, and it means exactly what you think it means.
Sure.
And the album's called Mindfuck Ultra.
I like that.
And, it's like 15 songs in 15 minutes, like really fast punk shit.
Sure.
Really good album.
Yeah. American band, yeah. And I'm not gonna say. I don't want to say that band name again. But yeah, I'm back.
But it was funny. I got the vinyl, and they made it's only one side. It's so short.
Oh, I like a nice one-sided 12-inch. Yeah.
And but they mispressed it as a 45 as a 33. So it's only like it's like just half of the side of the 12-inch.
Oh no. Okay.
It's supposed to be a 45 play, but
sure. Hey, it's unique. All right.
Hard to find the songs.
Sure. It's a good one. All right, John, what you got next?
Fucking hell. I don't know. EMF. I love that new EMF album was fucking good. I mean, the best side of it anyway.
Yeah. I got that too. The one with the flowers on it and like
yeah. Good album, man. But it does die off towards the end a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Good album, though.
Yeah.
I find that with most of their albums, so the first half is really good, and then kind of I can listen to something else after that.
I've been listening to them a lot this year, man, because I saw them last year. I saw them in this festival with Squeeze. They were really fucking good, man.
Now's a good time to put a plug in for your own band, John. Born Shitstir have just put out a cover of Unbelievable. Do you want to tell people where to find it?
It's on YouTube, I think. It's on Bandcamp. It's fucking. I'm trying to get it on Spotify. It takes a while to get it up there because they've got to check everything. It might get flagged because of the samples and that, but yeah, it was just did it for a laugh, really. You know, we're all the Bon Shit Stairs are on it almost. I mean, Bon Shit Stairs are a pretty fucked up outfit to start with. Like, you know what I mean? You got me, who's like the most hated person in this fucking city. Got two bipolar fucking American cunts who are always fucking depressed. You know what I mean? I mean, one of the cunts, he would watch fucking Schindler's List on Christmas Day just to cheer himself up. You got fucking, we got the drummer, the fucking drummer is like a recovering crystal meth addict. The saying goes, you're only as good as your drummer, right? But,
sure.
And then Brian, I mean, Brian's like the only normal one in the fucking band. I don't know what I should ask him. What do you think, Brian? Probably thinking, how the fuck have I ended up in this band? You know?
Well, luckily I live up here. I live pretty far from John, so I just play on the recordings.
You're right. Yeah. That's the way to do it, man.
Oh yeah, check it out. It came out all right. The EMF. It was just
it's brilliant, man. Loved it.
Yeah, just loved it. Check it out.
All right. Brian, another one from you?
It came out recently, so I'm hesitant, but their last album was really good. So, but it's called the band called Night Court.
Why do I know that?
There was a TV show called Night Court, so maybe.
I don't know that, but yeah, okay.
And it's called Shit Machine. But the S is crossed out to look like a dollar sign, and so instead of hit machine, it's shit machine.
Political.
And they're kind of like I don't know how you would explain, like a super chunk meets pop punk type of thing from Seattle, so it's got that kind of vibe as well.
Sounds good. Yeah, nice one. All right, John, another.
How many more can I have, man?
Couple more.
Pizza Tramp, the new Pizza Tramp album. It's good. Pizza Tramp.
That's a good one, yeah.
The album's called The Last Supper.
Pizza Tramp.
Yeah.
Don't know them. It's great. It's a great name.
They're from Wales, I think.
Okay. Punk, I guess.
You'd like them, yeah. It's pretty like thrashy and short songs, and I think
okay,
funny,
cool,
funny lyrics.
Yeah. All right, brilliant. Pizza Tramp, good one. Brian, what's your number 4?
I'll give you The Ambulance Review from Virginia.
Okay.
They're like they've been around a while, but this new album's good, and it has like a late 90s punk vibe to it. Like that, it's kind of nostalgic in that sense. But it's a friend told me to listen to it, and I was like, okay, and it hooked me in right away.
Yeah.
One of those
sounds great. Again, these are all new to me, man. It's great. John, how about you? Number 4?
Yeah, shall we go Lovely Eggs?
Right.
Pretty good album. Okay. Existentialism, it's called.
I mean, I'm surprised they haven't used it in previous albums, but that's
They've got a lot of albums actually. Haven't they?
They do, right? Yeah.
Is that
do you want to describe them for people that don't know?
It's just it's a couple, isn't it? A married couple. It's a drummer, guitar, and I don't know how to describe it. It's very like a lot of fuzz guitar, isn't it? It's quite garagey in a way, but it's also, I don't know.
I mean, their name suggests they're going to be more annoying than they are, doesn't it? And they're not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's quite poppy in places, isn't it? I don't know.
But it's not like twee. With a name like Lovely Eggs, you think they're going to be like the fucking what are they called? Like Adam Green was in them. Really kind of annoying, kind of folky twee stuff, or I can't remember. Anyway, but they're not. They're not. The name's kind of off-putting, but they're pretty good band.
Check out the track "Death Grip Kids" on that new album. It's pretty pretty raucous punk rock.
All right.
Just two of them. Yeah, it's pretty good. Brian, you're scared of eggs, right? Did you say you had a...
I can't eat eggs, no.
Oh, okay. I thought you were scared of them.
Are you scared of eggs, Brian?
I was traumatized by eggs, yeah.
I mean, I was going to go into some bad egg puns, but you can be here all fucking night with egg puns, can't you? It's there. You can get out.
Well, once you crack one, they just...
Exactly. I'm not even joking.
Okay, now. Taxi for Luke. Taxi for Luke.
That's enough. Brian, last one, man.
Which one should I go with? So it's a compilation album by a band called Toys That Kill, who you may know. His previous band was FYP, a kind of 90s skate punk band. And yeah, they did a comp of all their 7-inches and stuff and put it all together. I thought it was a new album, and then I listened. You know when you put it on and you're like, I know this song. Like, then yeah, I didn't read the fine print on when they released it.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a good band.
All right, great. All right, got in, John. Last one. Pick it, make it a good one.
Can I have a honorable mention after? Like
you can do whatever the fuck you want, man. Whatever.
He's putting off.
I'm just trying to keep to the time. It doesn't matter really. Whatever, man.
Yeah, we can talk about shite albums too, man. Fuck me.
We can.
Did you hear that fucking Lee Scratch Perry album with fucking Sean Ryder on it? Fuck me. That was fucking shit.
No, not good.
Garbage one.
Yeah.
If I can only pick one, maybe the Fastbacks. For what?
Okay. Is that a new album?
Yeah, brand new. It's been a while since I've done one.
It's like 20 years. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I had no idea they were still a thing.
Yeah, and it's pretty good. It just sounds like them, you know. You know, I mean, they must be pretty old now, like, you know.
Yeah. All right, this is great. A bit of punk slant from you two, as to be expected. All right, honorable mentions. Go on in, quick ones to throw out.
Well, I wanted to, because I've got this one here, this Carter USM reissue.
Wow, so you must be huge. Why is it so small?
Fucking asshole,
dude.
No, it's good. They reissued the album because you know what, they're fucking it's the manager. He's a fucking money grabbing cunt, man. They fucking released this. They released the van. They're fucking so much fucking shit to buy. But I just got this because it's got everything, you know, and it's got the live, it's got DVD, it's got the live album that they've just released, which is probably the most the best thing about it because it's never been out before. But I recommend all of these CD box sets they've done are really fucking good, man. I really recommend.
We didn't say the title for people not watching the video. So it's Carter Post-Historic
Monsters.
It's
Post-Historic Monsters. Yes.
Yeah.
It's 30th anniversary, I guess. Also, the 30th anniversary of Roxette's Crash Boom Bang album.
Yes. Yeah. Don't mind a bit. Well, yeah. Actually, we all like a bit of Roxette on the podcast. Actually,
love Roxette, man.
We've talked about them before. Yeah. They are good, aren't they?
Also, there's that China Drum compilation that came out on Mad Butcher Records and Serial Ball. I think they both put it out. It's all the old stuff, like a compilation of all the early singles, I guess. That's pretty good.
And you're on the same label, Serial Bowl, as China Drum.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
cool stuff, man.
Well, no, they're on the same label as us, actually.
Yeah. Sure.
Linda, that was good. There's loads of good albums.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Kim Deal, loads good.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm sure other people are going to mention some of these.
And Kim Gordon both put out good records.
I didn't hear that one
this year. Both the Kims.
I wanted to say my friend's band, The Roots, Routtes. He does like surf garage instrumentals, and he does the last three albums he's done have been cover albums. And he did a Kraftwerk one, then he did a Buzzcocks one, and now he's just done a Joy Division one called Surf and Pleasures, and it's all all surfed up. It's pretty good instrumentals.
Brilliant.
That's the thing.
All right, Brian. Any honourable mentions to say too?
Japanese band called Falling Sugar. It's I don't know if you know the Fadeaways. It's Toyozo from the Fadeaways, and he with his wife, and it sounds a bit like Imperial Teen, maybe.
Great.
So it's kind of like mellow. It's good to have. I don't think it's on any subscription things or anything, so you got to come here and buy one, maybe.
Sure. All right. All right. Cool. Let's finish it there. Any final message to people listening?
No.
No.
Happy New Year.
Right. Yeah. Happy New Year. All right. Cheers. All right. I'm going to stop the recording. All right. Well, welcome to the podcast. Matt, can you introduce yourself to the listeners, please?
Hi, I'm Matt Jammy. I've been a listener and a contributor to the Stupid and Podcast. Stupid and Contagious podcast, sorry.
Yeah.
Since its inception.
You have indeed. Thank you very much.
Oh man, no, I've been absolute. I don't normally do sort of like latch myself onto other people's groups and stuff, but this one has so much, I don't know, variation, I suppose, on everything that means a lot to me, as well as the other people who belong to this group and podcast and yourselves. And yeah, no, brilliant. No,
it's nice for you to say, mate. And you're based in Brighton, right? Our stomping ground.
I've been here since '98. I'm originally from Buckinghamshire, so I used to go to London a lot for gigs and stuff, as well as my area. And I've been here since then. I've rinsed the music scene. I'm not going to lie to you. I've put gigs on. I've been part of the scenes down here since basically, since I can remember. My first gig in Brighton was Baby Bird, 2 weeks after I moved here.
Nice.
So I've got straight into it. So yeah, I'm filling my boots, and this is a reflection of this.
All right. What are you going to talk about for us today then? So best albums of the year.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm going to confess, I do buy records. I buy records a lot. I rotate my month. So 1 month I buy tickets, 1 month I buy records. So, and most of it's sort of online. It's all my sort of my international stuff. So I haven't really bought many new albums, but I've been listening to a lot of new albums. I'm always in the loop. So no specific order. I'm going to start with an old band, Seafield. If you know Seafield, they won 2 Pure, I think, back in the early 90s. They were part of that sort of ambient, revolutionary type experimental shoegazy stuff, akin to say, what they call Disco Inferno, Bark Psychosis, Papa Spray, bands like Leica and Mooncake. Mooncake. I think Mooncake.
I don't know Mooncake. I know Leica and I Bark Psychosis.
Moonshake, sorry, Luke. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought Mooncake sounds great. But anyway, so that's my first one of the year.
All right. Brilliant. I haven't heard it at all.
Anything they throw in, I'm pretty much into. Managed to see them a few years ago when they reformed. I saw them at the old Sticky Mics, but when it was called Jam or something, and I was a bit inebriated, but it was a very interesting gig. And DJ Scotch Egg was the bass player for them that night. And
fuck off! I fucking love DJ Scotch Egg, man. He's one of my favorite people. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. He's a belter. He's a really I like Scotch Egg. To see him playing with Seafield was quite surreal.
Well, you know my obsession with Nege tapes, the Ugandan label. So he goes under DJ Scotch Rolex nowadays when he goes over there.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so he's like heavily involved in that scene. Basically, he's a cool guy. But he was living in Brighton for a long time, right? A Japanese guy. Yeah. People that don't know, Japanese producer, lived in Brighton for a long time. Nice one. Cool.
Yeah, that's not a bad sort of shout out for the first one.
Brilliant.
And
Yeah,
then,
what's
and
next?
then Crows, the new Crows album.
Mate, it's on my list.
Reason enough. It's
Reason
again,
enough.
I've only got a digital because we went recently see him, as you know. Judy had to chance of buying the vinyl.
There we go.
Yes.
On my list. It's on my list.
She's got
great.
She's got two of each of the original first two albums, one signed and one not, so because she loves them. So she bought the T-shirt instead as a present to herself. Sure. So the album, and I think I'm going to have to say, if we're going to do quickly, you said tracks. One that really stands out to me is Vision of Me. And it sounds so much like Editors in the Backroom era of them. It's got that Interpol voice twang. It's got that style of guitar Editors were known for in their early days. That sort of almost sort of rough shoegaze, but a bit more angular and a bit more punky.
Yeah,
but yeah, loved that. And then
I love Bored on this as well. I just got that energy in there, man.
That's here on my list of my my top sort of standouts, along with Bored's great live. It's
I can imagine.
And I've got was it? Is It Better as well, which is a great track. Even the title track of the album is brilliant. I mean, there's not really a Duff tune on the album, to be fair. It should be up higher on the list, but I'm doing this in no specific really order, really.
Sure.
Because and then next we're gonna have it's a soundtrack of a film I've not seen yet. A film called Queer.
Oh, with Daniel Craig, right? I know the film.
I've literally just saw the trailer this morning to get a gist of what, because I didn't know nothing about it. And I was with my Julie, and she was like, it wasn't what I thought it was, because the soundtrack's done by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross.
Oh right, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, it's Queer, the original score. It's called. It's the full soundtrack of it. And there's not really any notable tunes as such by title, but I really like them anyway as a duo, because they did that Ken Burns documentary about the Vietnam War. They did soundtrack Patriots Day, which is what I know it's a bit. Actually, it's actually an anti-American film, but I love that film. I'm into films about real things. I'm into real events. I like to sort of put my own,
It's amazing how well the soundtrack stuff suits Trent Reznor, right? It's like the perfect fit for where he's at in his life now, right? It's just perfect.
I'll tell you what, his soundtrack stuff is absolutely genius. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I've always rated him as a writer of music. I've been in and out of 9 Inch Nails. I'm not massively into industrial.
Yeah, same.
But when they did something, obviously, like yourself, you think, that's spot on. That's got a, that's right. Yeah. When they did, when he did was it the hand that feeds? Bite the hand that feeds.
Bite the hand that feeds. Okay.
And it was like a comebacky type album we did, because obviously they disappeared for a while, and he come back with this album, and the video, everything else was like, okay, he's got it back together again. It's brilliant. I'm loving it. So Trent. Atticus Ross on his own, I'm not familiar really with him.
No, same. I only know him with Trent Reznor, but yeah, okay. And I haven't heard this at all, so that's a great recommendation for me.
Oh, thanks, man. Cool. I mean, so that's 3 done. No, 3 done, and we've got my top 2. These are my top 2 of the year.
Okay, so let's do it.
At number 2, drum roll, we've got Machinism by Man of Moon.
I don't know this at all. What's this?
Man of Moon, Machinism.
Okay.
We recently, this is their second album. I've actually got a copy. I can actually do this quickly.
Oh, let's do it.
Julia, when she went, because she heard them through me, liked them, and then they've been going since 2015. They were from Glasgow. They were just a drums guy and a guy with guitar, bass, and sort of like keys and effects. Very driving. First album being that one, but you can't really see it.
No.
I'm a bit blurred, but never mind.
That's all right. If you put it right in front of you, I'll be able to see it. If you put it in front of you, yeah. If you put it right in the center. I haven't even seen that. I don't know what that is at all. Okay. What do they sound like?
Here we go.
Sorry, put you on the spot there.
No. It's because that's one of the bands that you can hear a lot of your influences in. So, for instance, you got the driving force of Peter Hook from Joy Division on bass, constantly motoring, just it's constantly driving. I label it. I've put them next to bands like the Long Cut from Manchester, 2004 sort of era, and they mix post-rocky sort of rhythms with the Manchester sound, which is mostly instrumental. They got bits of vocals, but it's mostly on the rhythms. It's a Long Cut were like that, but they've got a Manchester-y sound without sounding derivative. They've got a dark sound. It almost they use a lot of electronics as well. So slightly a nod to the old rave scene a bit, and
wow,
they're brilliant. I can't put
That's getting a red circle from me. That sounds perfect.
I'll tell you what I'll do though. Later on, when I've got some time, I'll message you a couple of tunes. I'll post you some tunes.
Oh, please do. Because that sounds right up my street. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we saw them at the studio bar at the Comedian, a smaller bar. Took the roof off.
Yeah. No. Okay, I remember. No. You sent me the video. Yes. Completely.
Yes, I did. I think
right. Yes, you did. Yeah, fucking brilliant. I loved that. Yeah. Okay.
You see what we've got to drive in, and the way he mumbles almost and shouts, he sort of lets his voice just take like music he built up.
Yes. Oh man, I need to listen to the album then. Okay, I need to listen to that properly.
I'll be honest with you, it's tough because the next one and this one are like, they should be both number one, really, because the Man of Moon album is absolutely fantastic. I'm not gonna
All right. Nice. All right. Top one. Well, one of them.
And
contender. One or two.
This has got to be number one because we're on this will be the fifth one anyway, so of the year. So, it's a strange title. I've got to go back to it, and you'll know it because I think you've got it anyway. So no title is of 13 Friday 2001 28 4,440 dead. There we go.
Godspeed you, Black Emperor. Godspeed you, Black Emperor.
Pretty much my favourite band.
Right.
Anyway, again, bear with me, Luke. I've never had a chance to do this with you, but I'll be very quick.
Yeah.
Up until the new album, though, unfortunately, I ain't got their latest one yet, but I've been listening to it relentlessly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've pretty much got.
Oh, you've got your collection. Look at that. Man.
I'll be up to date when I get paid, so I'll get the new album. So I'll be up to date.
Oh, man.
I'm lucky enough to see them a couple of times. I know you've seen them. You saw them at the Sussex Arts Club, I remember you saying.
Sussex Art Club. Was it Sussex Art Club? Yeah, I think so. I saw them twice in Brighton and once in Tokyo. 99. Again in like 2000 or 2001, like at the Dome. I saw them as well. And I saw them in Tokyo as well a while ago. Yeah. Fuck, man. Mate. So this album, right? So you've got all their stuff, right? Like I have as well. Yeah. I think it's like their best album since like the second or third album, I think. What do you think?
I wrote a note actually because I knew you were going to ask this.
We're going. No. Detail on this one.
I know as soon as the records come out, you're going to ask because obviously, me and you, audio, you literally have been following them since.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
From day one.
Watch the progress, watch the difference. Yeah. So I wrote basically a sound that deviates from what you would think Godspeed should sound like. What was it? Basically the title track, and there's that track called well, that's it. Pale Spectator Takes Photographs.
Yeah.
That reminds me of Lift kind of
Lift Your Skinny Wrist.
I think it sounds very like Lift Your Skinny Fist, like Antennas. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's got that more sort of stringy sound, and it's got a more of a thud, like a like a build up, almost like a procession.
Sure.
And they build it up like you've just gone to church and I don't know, had a bar mitzvah or something, and bang. And it's like neat. It fills you full of hope. I think that's why
I
like the backdrop of hope and the hammer of hope.
Well, against the fucking, the death of hundreds of thousands, thousands of children, right? Which is, there's another, I can't think of another record that's referencing this horrific genocide that's going on, right? This is the only people that are doing it, right? It's
and they're political, but without words, and that's
exactly how do they do it? And the passion and the heartbreak and, like you say, the hope is all in there without words, man. It's a fucking work of genius.
I think that they are, and as you've seen live, they're crushing. They're really thought-provoking. They give you freedom to think. They don't.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I like that. Yeah.
It gives you freedom to do what you want to do because they're not trying to control you. They're just trying to sort of guide you. I think, if it makes any sense. I think it's just that. It's like Mogwai when they first come out. They were political without being political, but it was more sort of like a nationalistic Scottish vibe because when there was an interview where how do you identify yourself, and it was to Stuart Braithwaite. He says I'm Scottish, and he's full, and then when you listen to some of the music from that time, even the early stuff like Young Team and stuff, you think, actually, you can see where they're going. They've got the Godspeed kind of way of up yours to the world, but we care.
Yeah.
And that's why I like anything to do with Godspeed, with Silver Mountain Zion, Set Fire to Flames, as we've mentioned before. I think they're creative geniuses. Other than, like, say, Hawkwind and Loop in my all-time favourite bands, I would Godspeed are definitely top 3 up there.
Oh, right. Brilliant.
I get emotional. I nearly did then, funny enough.
Completely understandable, man.
Mate. You know what it's like.
Yeah. Oh, 100%, man. 100%. All right, dude. That is a fucking solid list, man. That is great.
Thanks,
I need to completely check out that Man of Moon, the full album. Get on the Queer soundtrack. Oh, mate. Really appreciate it. All right, let's stop it there. But thanks so much for coming on. Don't escape though.
Okay, that's all right. Of course, I like that. I like that when you do the interviews.
Do you have any final? Do you have anything you want to plug to the listeners? You got your DJ night or anything? Got any coming up?
Oh,
go on, plug away, man. Plug away before we finish.
Well, we're a bit elite. I'll tell you something quickly because I feel a bit. I'm not rushed. I know that, but I feel we're very elitist. Let me just can I give you just a brief rundown of how it really started? Basically, a couple of years ago, as you know, I was diagnosed with cancer. So whilst waiting for it was mild, apparently, but I didn't feel a thing. But anyway, I was waiting for the operation, and some friend of mine video timed me one like FaceTime and said, "Oh, do you want to go up to Shorts Bar up in Kent Town for a beer in a couple of weeks?" From when we were talking, I went, "Yeah." So what they're doing a Syrian and Turkish earthquake fundraiser, all day thing. And they found out I had a box full of very expensive Turkish 45s. And then someone was talking about me even before I was on their chat. And it's from where I did Radio 4A quite a lot. And then, I got involved, played it. I met this guy who's really sort of kindred spirit. His wife's Turkish. He's from the old house scene, free parties and all the Brighton free parties back in the early 2000s and all that sort of stuff. So he's got some credentials. I've been playing all over Brighton since 2003. But anyway, the barman at the time loved it and come up to me and said, "Do you want to do this again?" I went, "Wow, okay." So I went up to this guy called Dan Kind. I'm going to plug him. And I went up to him. I didn't ask, saying, "Would you like?" I just went up to him and said, "We got a gig. We can do this. We can do our own night." So I named it Anadola Night Fever. Got all the stuff. He did the first poster, and we got it going and filled the pub. I was overwhelmed, and then we did another one there. And then he left the pub, the guy, and then he took over a pub in Farringdon, London, and we did a December show. Not last, 2 years ago, then sort of thing. And then we needed a new venue because the Shorts was shut down. So we ended up at the Gladstone, the Yellow Pub on Lewis Road.
Yeah. Used to go there a bit, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a great pub. I love that place because you can get away with smoking in the back garden and things like that. And it's just lovely. It's just the vibes are nice anyway. So we did our first one there. Again, I was quite, because it's a bigger venue. I thought, would we fill it? And yeah, it's brilliant. And the back garden was a bit empty, and then we just did one in September. A late 50th celebration for myself as well, and a couple of others.
Congratulations! Yeah,
we if it was ticketed, we would have sold it out. It was there was room for my Julie, bless her, had to leave about 10:30. She it was too much for her. She'd been working all day from like 6 a.m. and stuff like that. She works hard at the Royal Sussex cleaning, and anyway, so she said, "Oh, I'll get." People keep bumping into me and all this. I went, no worries, love. She goes, would you mind if I went? No, but I've got to stay, obviously, because it's my night.
yeah.
And I ended up, we all all the DJs that night was solid, including ourselves. I try not to big myself up too much, but we've all got our own little niches, and I've had like ex-clubbers, ex-ravers from 30 odd years of the old school coming up to saying, you've got a scene here. You've got something building up. You got everyone from everywhere. You got ex-ravers, punks, crusties, goths, chappies.
Into Turkish psych, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, man. And you obviously got lots of Turkish people coming.
Sure,
which is very, very. So we've been asked to say, oh, you should do more a year. No, we do it every 6 months. We do it every 6 months. So
when's the next one?
April the 20th. I'm not announcing it to New Year's Day.
All right, April-ish.
No, April the 26th. And it's
April 26th. All right.
And it's Saturday, it's free entry. We've got our lineup. I've got the poster, but that's definitely not going to be shown until February.
All right. And I'm going to try to make Neil go along. I'm going to give Neil a kick up the arse and make him go along.
He recently accepted my friend's request, funny enough.
All right, I'll get him.
I don't know if this is too far out for him. I love it.
I'll give him a nudge. Yeah.
So Anadolo Night Fever, 26th of April 2025. Free entry. It's on to about 12:30, and it starts at 8. We don't go mental, but we don't, but the crowd do.
Sure.
We've never had any problems. Everyone's described it as a beautiful night. So if anyone is listening to this in Brighton, do come along. It's and like you said, Luke, I do the psych part of the night because our underbanners. If you ever look at our posters, it's got like a subheading. It says Turkish psychedelic funk rock disco,
right?
And I do the rock and the psychedelic. My mate does all the funky type stuff, and then we've got this girl called Sybil. She's out of this world. She gets everyone up. She does all the remixes, all the reworks, all the modern take of Turkish and Middle Eastern, and she's amazing. So we're really proud of our little collective, which has been built up nicely.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Wow.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Cheers. All right. I'm going to stop the recording.
Cheers, mate.
Well, I hope you enjoyed listening to those as much as I enjoyed chatting to our lovely listeners. So before we finish this very long kind of bumper end of year episode of the best of 2024, I guess we should finish off with me giving my own list of the best albums of the year. I did have a top 10 and then like a load of honorable mentions, and then I thought, fuck it, let's just make it a top 15. So that's what I've done, and so let's get on with it. You've been listening long enough, so I'll try to get this over with quickly as possible. All right, number 15, we've got Unknown Me. So album called Bito Kagaku, and they're a Japanese ambient band, basically. Just make really kind of nice ambient tunes. And yeah, I think it's a second or third album. I've got another one of theirs, and it's really good. Unknown Me. At number 14, we got Chat Pile with their second album. Some people might be familiar with these kind of American kind of sludgy noise band, basically. Had a great kind of highly acclaimed album a couple of years ago, which I really liked. And this is their second record, Cool World. And it's just more of the same, really. Really good kind of good songwriting, good noisy stuff going on, and and a message to give as well. So chat pipe number 14. Number 13, we've got Arab Strap. I'm totally fine with it. Don't give a fuck anymore. Title of the year, surely. And just continuing their amazing comeback, basically. I don't think it's quite as good as the previous album, but I mean that was their masterpiece, really. But yeah, it's really, really good. It's people, my age, our age, I guess, the demographics kind of, still pissed off at life, still horny, and it's really, really good. Arab Strap. I'm totally fine with it. Don't give a fuck anymore. Number 12, I guess. This is a band based in Brighton called Pascagoula, and I didn't know until like 10 minutes ago when I was. I thought I better check to see if I could find anything about them. And they're actually made up of a couple of bands that I really love, Trencher and Charlottefield, who I've bought loads of stuff by in the early 2000s. They're kind of like a noise band, basically. So this is kind of, again, sludgy, noisy record out on Human Worth. Album's called Full Self-Defense, and the band is Pascagoula. If you like things a bit noisier, highly recommended. And I just found out that they were from these bands that I love, which probably explains why I like the record so much. Okay, that's my number 12 of the year. Number 11, we got Crows, reason enough. Third album from the Crows boys. Regular listeners will have seen me wearing a Crows t-shirt. So yeah, just really like this band. I talked about it with Matt. If you've watched the whole episode, you heard me talking about it. So I won't go into it too much, but it's just really good, kind of heavier, kind of rocky indie. It's like dark side to them, I guess. Just really, really good songwriting. There you go. Third album, reason enough. Great record. Okay, at number 10, I talked about this with ST in New York, so I won't try to pronounce it again. Oh, I will. Okay, so it's Triswich Finneywood, and it's a psychedelic, witchy Welsh language album that I talked about with ST. And I just really like it. Dark, kind of hypnotizing, draws you into their kind of witchy world of kind of folk psychedelic horrorness. And it's just a really good album. And it looks exactly how the cover is, basically. There you go. I won't try to pronounce the name again. Okay, I think we're on to the top 10, maybe, or 9. The Chisel. What a fucking nightmare. So this was mentioned briefly in the chat earlier. And I mean, I really liked it when it came out, and I'd kind of hadn't listened to it for a few months, but really made me kind of go back and have a listen. And it's a great album. So oi punk, I guess. Lots of songs about working class solidarity and shit like that, which I'm a total sucker for. So there you go. The Chisel. What a fucking nightmare. Next, we got a late entry because I only just found out about it and managed to get hold of a copy. So it's Lord Spikeheart is the artist, and he's one half of Kenyan industrial techno grind duo Juma, and they released like my number 1 album 2020, maybe something like that, a few years ago, and I just loved it. It was a whole new sound I'd never heard before, and it's just this incredible kind of amalgamation of, like I said, techno, grindcore, industrial music. And so Lord Spikeheart's the kind of the vocals, the front man with the death growls, and he just set up his own label called Haikalu, I guess. And this is the first release on it. It's his own solo album called The Adept, and it's more of the same. It's got lots of guest stars from the world of Nege Nege, which people familiar with the show I often talk about. Based in Uganda. This guy's from Kenya, and it's just a great mix of kind of death metal, bit of grindcore sound going on, industrial techno, and just really, really works. And it's a great debut first album for him as a solo artist, and I love the fact that he's set up his own label to do it, and got to support that kind of creativity. So Lord Spikeheart is my number 9, I guess. Okay. Number 8 or 7, I kind of forgot. Next is first of the Wrong Speed record entry. So this is an artist called Jaqen Elswith, and she's basically a like a solo banjo player. So it's an instrumental kind of banjo album, really. There is a little bit of kind of violin and double bass on there, but basically, for all intents and purposes, it's a solo banjo instrumental album, which sounds terrible, but it's amazing. It's I can't remember how to describe it. It's just very kind of intricate and clever and innovative. At times, it's kind of like a folk kind of horror album. It goes into drone territory quite a lot. It's like a drone album for a lot of it. And it just, totally surprised me, totally blew me away when I first heard it. But, I should have known to trust the Wrong Speed boys, because they never go wrong, basically. And this was one of my biggest surprises. And I just absolutely loved this record. Jaqen Elswith is called At Fargrounds, and highly recommended. Now, 8 or whatever it was, 7, that was 7A. 7, I can't not mention a few more Wrong Speed. So 7B is the Navigator album put out by Wrong Speed. So this is actually a compilation of their singles that were put out in the 90s. And it's like a cross between Mogwai and Slint, basically. So post-rock territory. And I'd never heard of them before. But again, I put my trust in the boys at Wrong Speed Records, and they never let me down. And this is an amazing record. If you're into kind of that kind of late 90s post-rock sound, then this is definitely worth giving a listen. So Navigator is the band. And 7C, just one more of Wrong Speed needs a mention. A band called Irked. This is just a one-sided 12-inch, but it's incredible. They sound kind of like a Geordie, Amel and the Sniffers, basically. So female-fronted, kind of street-level punk rock. And I absolutely love this 12-inch from start to finish, basically. 5 tracks, all killer, no filler. It's a perfect one-sided 12-inch. And Irked are the band. Check it out. Okay, so I think we're on to number 6. Number 6 album is Mdu Mokhtar. So often called like desert blues guitar, I guess. So this is a guy from Niger. And I've been listening to his albums. I'm listening to him and his band for a long time, basically. I've got, I don't know, 5 or 6 albums of his. This is his best one. I think it's called Funeral for Justice. He's angry. He's angry against colonialism. He's and he makes it known. He sings in Tuareg, which I think it's a dialect of language in Nigeria, I guess. And the guitar's amazing. The whole band are just like really incredible. And if you're into kind of any kind of guitar music, but you want something a little bit different, this is kind of what they call desert guitar rock. And an amazing album, Mdu Mokhtar, Funeral for Justice. Okay, on to number 5. My number 5 album is band called a producer, I guess, called Xylitol, based in Brighton. It's the work of someone called Catherine Backhouse, and I don't know how I came across this, but as soon as I heard it, it was almost as if it was like custom made for me. So it's like a combination of like 90s breakbeat, which I love, and ambient music, which I like as well. So it's just got that kind of 90s kind of breakbeat jungle kind of sound going on, but then it will go into these long passages of ambient sound, and it's just a really well constructed, really interesting, innovative, well put together record. So it's called Anemones. Brighton based producer Catherine Backhart, and she goes under the name Xylitol. Really good. Okay, we're getting near the end. Number 4 is Jack White's latest solo album. It's called No Name, and I talked a little bit about it on the podcast, but basically I love the White Stripes, and I loved everything they did. Basically got to see them a couple of times. And I tried to like Jack White's like post White Stripes endeavors, and I think I've listened to pretty much every single thing he's put out, basically whatever incarnation it's been, just himself or with the Raconteurs, or what else was it, Dead Weather, was that him? And it just didn't grab me. It just wasn't the White Stripes. But this is the White Stripes. Basically, it sounds like a lost kind of early to mid period White Stripes record, and yeah, again, just really well crafted songs. He's got that kind of unhinged kind of garage blues things going on that he did so well back in the day, and yeah, it's a brilliant album. Jack White, No Name. Okay, into the final stretch now. Mentioned briefly in my chat with ST, this is Moyne at number 3 on my list. So featuring the amazing talents of drummer Valentina Magaletti, who seems to make 1 million albums a year. Like I talked about in the part earlier, it's yes, it's a post everything. It's the only way I can think to describe it. So at points it sounds like a post rock album, like Slint or something like that. Then we've got guest vocal tracks from like Kobe Say, who's like an amazing kind of MC guy. So it kind of sounds, but he's very kind of cutting edge. So it sounds kind of like post hip hop. It sounds like post hardcore. It sounds like post punk. It's a post everything album. It's an album of now, basically, and it's really interesting and cool and innovative, and it just sounds like a very modern take on like experimental music, basically, and it's as good as it gets in 2024, I think. And yeah, it's called You Never End, and the band is Moyne. All right, so number 2, talked about it with Matt Jammy earlier on, but Godspeed You Black Emperor. Title is no title as of 13th of February 2024, 28,340 dead. Yeah, I mean, what more is there to say about it, really? It's an incredible kind of achievement of kind of post-rock greatness. You know, the album titles all allude to the horrific genocide that's still going on in Gaza, and as I said to Matt, they seem to be the only band that are talking about it. And even though they don't have any lyrics, the emotion in the music that they manage to convey, you know, exactly what they want to say. And yeah, it's just an amazing instrumental post-rock album. Godspeed You Black Emperor, amazing return to form. All right, so my number 1 album of the year. Now, this came out right at the start of the year, and it went straight like to the top of my list, and it's just stayed there, basically, and nothing has managed to knock it off the top spot. So it came out on Wrong Speed Records, and the band is called Objections. The album is Optimistic Sizing, and it's just song after well-crafted song of beautiful kind of post-punk guitar rock greatness, basically. Yeah, I don't know how else to describe it, except it's just good. The songs are just good. They're funny, they're innovative. The guitar work is amazing. They've got good melodies. It's just a really, really good guitar kind of way. Get a bit of a post-punk edge to it, post-punk guitar album in 2024. And yeah, it's just, for me, it's just perfect from start to finish. And yeah, just the best thing I heard all year, basically. So there you go. That is my list. And I'll say the number 1 again. It's Objections, Optimistic Sizing on the ever incredible Wrong Speed Records. Okay, that's me. Thank you so much for listening to this bumper episode. I really do appreciate it. I love doing it. I hope you enjoyed listening. Hey, happy new year, and I'll see you all in 2025.
Me again. No, I recorded that last part a couple of days ago, but I completely forgot to say our sign off. And I think, yeah, we're basically contractually obliged to say it, but for someone to say it every episode. So Neil is going to seamlessly edit this in to look like there was no change at all, despite the fact I'm wearing like completely different clothes and stuff like that. So see you in a minute.